unmuted?
Should be.
Hopefully. Hello, everybody. We have Frost and Aaron and Jaeger. We're gonna give people some time to get in here. Hello, Beth, over on TikTok.
And there's Sir Chatty Matty.
Oh, there is Ian. There's Maddie. Thank you for the raid and bringing everyone over. Hello, Milu. You can't hear me at all? Can nobody hear me? I have the sensitivity up and I see it like working in the studio. You can hear me? Okay, they can hear me. Frost, do you want to check your settings?
He probably has the string muted.
Do you have the tab muted?
You want to give Matty his Viking raspberries in the meantime?
You go right ahead.
Wow, you're not even going to give your raiders some raspberries?
Toot toot. I mean, I can do like that kind of raspberry. Hello, Sage.
You can pull that closer to yourself.
I can?
Yeah, you can pull it.
Oh, well, that might be helpful. But then it goes up more.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm trying to, well, maybe if I tilt it down. Maybe? Tell me if that sounds better. Oh, thank you, Milu. I have been well rested. After getting sick, I got probably too lazy to be honest, but I got lots of rest, so. I did not see a Sith murder spree. I was doing other things. Hopefully you had fun. And welcome in everybody on TikTok. We are reading Son of Shadows by Juliette Marier. We have been gone for a couple weeks because I got ill and my throat was not going to be able to hold up to it, so I apologize for that. But we will pick up where we left off. We're on page 307 in the actual text.
And Sage dropped in over on YouTube.
I saw Sage, I said hello. Thank you, Teresa, I appreciate that. Okay. Totally fine, Mila. It's good to multitask when you have stuff to do. Oh, you have no kitchen because it's a mess? That is unfortunate. You're gonna do a writing stream on Wednesday or Thursday? Okay.
How's the music, everybody?
Yeah, let me know if the music is too loud. I can hear it coming through on the headphones, which are not on my head, so it could be loud for you. I want to make sure that everything sounds good to you guys.
Yeah, because I still have the noise gate on, so it should be fine.
But the last time we read, it looks like we have come to Sorsha's end. She is fading and she knows that she's not going to be making it through the night, so she has called all her family to say her farewells. I have lightning sounds in your ears. What? Oh, from your... Are you still playing your game? You never hear the music? Okay. As long as it's not drowning me out, because as we have established, I am not as loud as Castle is. It's pretty loud on YouTube. I can turn the music down a little. Did the music just stop? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'll turn it down a smidge. Just the residual sound in your ears. Okay. You played it long enough that it's just stuck there. All right. Michael Myers, thank you for the like. We've actually put a good dent in this. We are over halfway. And from what we know, Leiden's sister did successfully get away. However, we don't know if she survived or not, because it is believed that she fell into the bog and drowned. But we don't have confirmation, so Liadin has been forthcoming with her parents finally, now that her mother is about to pass on. And just knowing that there's a possibility she is alive, I am sure has brought about some spark of hope there. But we don't know yet. And then, of course, Aemon of the Marshes, it happened on his land, so he's even more incensed at the Painted Man. And his obsession is starting to really show itself. And he's still in hot pursuit of Liadin, even though she is pregnant and has shown no interest. So, it'll be interesting to see how things unfold. Milo bells, that's actually Boo, because Milo's bell fell off because he was doing something and it was lost. And we did find the bell, but I couldn't get it back on, so Milo doesn't have a bell, unfortunately. Boo has bells. Or just the one little bell, but yeah. I think that if the bell hadn't fallen off on its own, Castle probably would have taken it off because he's already annoyed as it is with how active Milo is in the middle of the night. Well, that's okay, Frost. You're going to be in and out tonight as well as Frost. That is totally fine. That is totally fine. I will read, and if you miss stuff and want to go back and watch it, you are always welcome to do that. Otherwise, you could always ask me for a summary, and I'll give it to you as best I am able. And hello, Esther. Welcome in. I am feeling much better. Thank you so much. I got plenty of rest, and getting sick, it doesn't hit me as hard as it does the guys, so I gave them all kinds of potent tinctures and elderberry syrup and made them drink lots of tea. But we are doing much better. Okay, I think we have given enough time for people to trickle in. I'm sure we'll have some more people over time, but we can get started. So hello again, everyone, and let us begin. Thank you, Esther. Mother wasted none of her last night in sleep. Instead, she had Liam bring the men and women of the household to her so she could thank them and say her farewells. Many a tear was shed, and many a small bunch of primroses or single daffodil, brave in white and gold, was laid at her feet or by her pillow. She had them move her to a chamber downstairs, and around the walls many candles burned, so that the space was filled with warm light. Lying small and still on her pallet, she found a kind word for each solemn visitor. There must have been considerable pain, but Janice and I knew what doses Sorsha had needed to take this last season to keep from crying out as the canker gnawed ever deeper into her vitals. Now she wanted to be awake and able to listen, and so she had taken nothing. She was indeed a strong woman, and she masked the spasms so well that few were aware of what she suffered. My father knew. His face had become an expressionless mask, save when he looked at her directly, and he was not speaking. Not to me or to Liam, or to anyone but her, unless he must. I knew he wished we would all go away and leave the two of them alone, but it was her bidding. He followed. At last these long farewells were done, and the household slept. I sat by the small fire with Johnny quiet in my arms. My father was on a stool by the bed, his long legs bent awkwardly to the side. He was wiping her face with a damp cloth. Mother's eyes were closed. She might have been asleep, save for the slight twitch of one hand as the pain struck deep. You could tell them now, if you are ready. I glanced at Finbar where he stood motionless. His right hand laid flat on the wall beside the window, his back turned to me as he looked out into the moonlit garden. There was no doubt of what he meant. I'm ready. There could be no better time than this. Is Sean home yet? My mother whispered. I'll go and see if any word has come, said Liam quietly. Come, brothers. We should leave this small family alone a while. They had been grouped together, standing by the door where folk might be shepherded in and out with as little fuss as possible. Now Liam left, taking Connor and Podrick with him, but Finbar remained behind. Not for him a safe closed-door chamber and blanketed bed. Not for him the temporary oblivion of strong ale. I had not seen him touch a morsel of food nor a drop of drink since he had come home. Mother, father, I have something to tell you. Sorsha opened her eyes and managed a weak smile. That's good, daughter. Let me. She was short of breath, but I knew what she wanted. I made room for Johnny under the coverlet and tucked him in beside her. My father helped her curl a hand around the baby's warm body. Johnny's eyes were open, his father's gray eyes. He was growing fast, and I could see him looking, trying to make sense of the shadows and patterns of the candlelit room. By the window, Finbar did not move. I did not think I could sit down. I stood by the bed, my hands clutched tight together. I will not insult you by asking for your trust, I began. Time is too short for that. You have said you have faith in me, and I must believe it. I have to tell you that I have lied to you, and hope you will listen while I explain why. It is a matter of deep, very secret, a sadness beyond tears, and perhaps an ending better than we dared hope for. Your trust may be stretched to its utmost, as mine has been. Now my father was observing me closely, his blue eyes sharp and cool. Mother lay tranquil, watching the baby. Hello, Molly Sue, welcome in. Yeah, Coda's wandering around back there making noise. I'm sure you guys love that. Sorry. But good to see you, Molly. Oh, Molly came in during an ad. Oh no, I'm sorry. I agree, Esther, I agree. She probably did not hear me say hello then if she's stuck in an ad. Go on, Leodin. Yudun's tone was carefully neutral. Neve, I said. Neve. Courage, Leodin. We all knew something was wrong when she came home. You even asked me to find out what it was, but we did not know how wrong. We were at Shidouv. I discovered the truth. Her husband beat her and abused her most foully. She was already much distressed by what happened there. What happened here. She believed everyone she loved had rejected her. She had hoped to make a new start with this marriage. Her husband's cruelty put paid to that. But she made me swear not to tell. She made me promise to keep it secret from all the family. Neve was heartbroken about Kiaran, that he had not stood by her. She was shattered when you sent her away. To be treated thus, she believed, must mean she was worthless. She would not let me tell Fionn's abuse and cause the alliance to be broken, for that would have been yet another failure. Hello, call me Pister, good to see you. And hello, Voice of the Void. Well, I am so glad that it makes it feel real for you. Welcome in. Hopefully you will enjoy the story. We're reading Son of Shadows by Juliet Marie. You know we love the pets, don't mind the noise? Okay, I'm glad. It's ambiance, right? Or ambiance, whatever. Dog's pestering me, though. It's funny. Alright. Yeah, I'm glad you caught the reading as well. I was gone specifically for a couple weeks because my throat was all scratchy from getting sick, so. But all is well, we'll continue. Sir, can you lay down, please? Just lay down. Lay down, it's okay. Relax. Lay down. Why are you all stressed out? Anytime that cats are doing something, he gets very neurotic about it. Like, they're moving! They're doing stuff! It's okay. He's just a very nervous sort of dog. Oh, hi, Boo-Boo. Did you come to say hello? Huh? The baby? Do you want to say hi? He doesn't want to say hi, but here he is anyway. Say hello. Say hello. He's like, I didn't come here for this. Oh, you mispronounced about as a boot? I mean, you're from Canada, so that's okay. I don't know if that's really mispronouncing. He is a big puppy. He is a very big puppy. He seems like he would be a large, majestic dog that you could rely on, but he is quite the opposite. You're not Newfie? Oh, well, it's okay. You can just pretend. It's funny, Maddie. Okay, let us continue. What are you doing? Are you making trouble? Come here. Come in. Come in. Milo's in the blinds. Come on. What are you doing? He's been snuggling with me all day, so he's probably gonna be a nuisance. Got all that energy now. Just lay down. Lay down. Yeah. You notice how this doesn't really happen when Castle's reading? It's just specific to the streams that we have together. Maddie, were you giving TMI? Alright. There was a stunned silence. Then my father said, "If this is true, and I know it must be, for you would scarcely lie about such a matter, then you should have told us. This was one promise that should have been broken. I'm afraid I could not be sure you would help. After all, you had insisted she marry Fian. You had sent her away to Tyrconnell. Your words to her were uncompromising. Sean hit her. And there was Liam and the alliance. I have never understood why she could not wed Kieran, why you refused to even consider that match. It is unlike you to act thus without weighing the options, without assessing the arguments. It is not like you to withhold the truth. I did not understand your reasons, and so I could not risk telling." My father was staring at me, his eyes full of hurt. "How could you believe I would condone such a thing? Allow my own daughter to be abused?" "Hush," whispered my mother. "Let Leiden tell her story." Then I, word by word, a learning tale, tell it slowly. I did not know what to do or where to seek help. Time was short, but I knew I could not let her go back to Tyrconnell. I feared she would harm herself. So I asked a friend to take her away, to see her safe to a place of sanctuary. Again, a charged silence. "I don't think I understand," said Eubden carefully. "Was not your sister abducted by the Fianna and drowned? Was not she a victim of one of their arrogant displays of pointless barbarity?" "No, father." My own voice was a thread of sound. "The men who took her away across the marshes did so at my request. They came to Shidoov at my bidding. They were to guide Neve to safe ground and convey her to a Christian house of prayer, where she could remain in hiding, where she could be away from the cruelty of men." When my father was able to speak again, he said, tight-jawed, "You choose your friends poorly, it seems. It is clear they failed utterly in this venture, since they lost her before ever they touched dry ground. I hope you didn't pay them too much." It was as if he had struck me, and this time Finbar spoke aloud. "The tale is not yet told. It is a complex fabric with many strands. Your words wound your daughter. It has taken all of her courage to speak to you thus, and she has not been the only one to withhold the truth. You should let her finish in peace. Tell us, Leiden." My mother's voice was calm. "I have connections that I have not spoken of. Friends, I would call them. One of these friends is the man who took Neve from Shidoov and conveyed her to safety, to a place where she could not be hurt, where she will be treated with respect and not expected to be the O'Neill's plaything, to a place where her family will not force her into a loveless marriage for the sake of a strategic alliance. I can give you no evidence that she is safe. I cannot tell you where she is, nor would I if I knew. But I have seen her in a vision of the site, and I believe that my friend has done as I bid him. The drowning, the loss in the mist, it was a sham, Part of the performance designed to convince Eamon, and later others, that she was dead. A deception to divert the hunters from their quarry. Under cover of that lie, they took my sister to safety. Milo? Milo. Speaking in that case. A little draft stirred the flame. Now Coda's gonna come over and he's looking at me like he's doing something. They're ridiculous. You have zero filter and it shows. I believe that, Maddie. I believe that. And hello, Kenneth. Welcome in. A little draft stirred the candle flames. After a while, my mother said very quietly, "You knew that Neve was alive and did not tell us." "I'm sorry," I said miserably. "When you ask this man to undertake a mission, you follow his rules. He said she would be safer if as few people as possible knew the truth. I judged it best. And I don't know exactly. I believe she is not lost. I trust the man who aided us when nobody else would." As I said, Father's expression was frozen in distaste. "Your choice of friends seems deeply flawed. How can you possibly know if this man is telling the truth or not? Deception is his very lifeblood. Everything we have heard of him paints him as a turncoat who can be relied on only by the unreliable, changing allegiance when he will. And he is violent and to the extreme. A prankster who acts on whatever insane whim takes him. I cannot believe you would trust such a man with your sister's life. Some madness must have seized you. And now you have the temerity to give your mother false hopes. Now, tonight, when..." He fell silent, perhaps aware that my mother's shadowed eyes were turned on him. "No, Red," she said. "Don't be angry. We have no time for that. You must hear Leoden out." I drew a deep breath, feeling Finbar's strength as he concentrated his mind on mine, not thinking for me, but lending me his own courage. "As I said, I have seen her. I have seen her alive and happy, and with a child that was certainly her own. A vision of the future, a sure and joyful one. But even without that, I believe she is safe. I know it in my heart because I know I can trust the man who is my son's father. It is the same man. You looked into my child's face and told me he has John's eyes. Trustworthy eyes. My son's father has the same trustworthy eyes and a face marked with the features of the raven. Bold, fierce, and forbidding. He is the leader of the Fianna, and one they call the Painted Man. He has done ill deeds in his life, and there is no denying that. But he is also capable of great courage, strength, and loyalty. He makes few promises, but those he makes he keeps. As Connor's tale showed, even an outlaw, given the chance, can be a good and trustworthy man. This man saved your daughter. This man fathered your grandchild. He has my heart and will have it always. I would give myself to no other. Now I have told you the truth, all that I can. And I have given you my trust, for this knowledge passed to the wrong ears could put many lives at risk." "Well done, Neoden." Finbar gave a nod of recognition. My parents stared at me. "I'm silenced," said Yubden. Going upstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
You need anything before I go?
No. I just speak and the words come out, yeah? We are doing well, Kenneth. Thank you very much. I hope you are doing well. If it ever snows, please send some snowballs. Oof, I don't even know how you would, you'd preserve those. They would, probably not arrive as snowballs.
I haven't seen snow in a lifetime.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Mother lifted a hand to stroke Johnny's brown curls. "So Neve is safe. This news is a wondrous gift, Leoden. I never quite believed that she was gone. I think, somehow, I would have known. I'm sorry, said Father abruptly. You've spoken very plainly, and I respect that. I was too harsh, perhaps. But this has caused us great pain. I did not expect that from you, Leodin. I'm sorry too, Father. I wanted to give him a hug and to say it will all be all right, but something in his eyes told me no, not yet. I had 2 lives to protect, and both are still at risk. I can hardly believe you would choose such a man. Do you find it hard to believe that I would choose the son of your friend John? John was no outlaw. John was not a killer for hire. You have been forthright in your catalogue of the painted man's faults, Father. Yet he in turn describes you as the cause, by your relinquishment of your responsibilities at Harrowfield, of his failure to be an adequate partner for your daughter. Father had no reply to this. Red. What is it, Jenny? This is what you must do next. You must go back home. Father simply looked at her. You mean back to Harrowfield? I asked the question he would not ask. Mother nodded. She was still looking at my father, holding him with her gaze. It's a mission, said Mother. Go back and find out what happened. What became of Marjorie and her son? How it came about that John's boy has grown into this unhappy young man. Father stood up, turning his back on all of us. So you think my time here is finished, is that it? That after this there is no place for a Briton here at Seven Waters. I suppose I can understand that. I suppose I may come to understand it. Finbar, who had stayed so still and kept so silent, save for the voice of the mind, was quick enough now. In an instant it seemed he was by my mother's bedside and speaking aloud. Would you use your words to hurt Sorsha tonight of all nights? He asked. Do not speak rashly, out of your own pain. She gives you this mission to ensure you do not lose yourself when she is gone. My uncle, it was clear, was not afraid of plain speaking. She bids you go, for your daughter's sake and for your grandchild's. Seek out the truth and bring it home for them. There are wounds to be healed here, and some of them are your own. And? Sorsha spoke very softly, and my father was forced to turn back to hear her. I had never before seen him in such an extreme amount of distress, and it was hard to hold back my tears, for my tale had dealt a blow to a man already in deep pain. And you should see your brother. You will need to tell Simon that I am gone. He should know. Red. He came to kneel by her again, and she reached up a hand to brush his cheek. He put his own fingers over hers and held them there. Promise me, she whispered. Promise me you'll do it and come back here safe. He gave a stiff nod. Say it. I promise. She sighed. It's late, Leodin. You should be sleeping. Is Sean here yet? I don't know, Mother. Shall I go and see? Here, she said. You'd better take your son. He might miss you. Her fingers moved gently against the baby's small ear, his soft hair, and then I took Johnny up in my arms, and I saw in Sorsha's eyes that she knew it was the last time she would touch him. Leodin, have you told Sean about this? No, Mother, but he guessed. Part of it, at least. He has kept faith. He has not told Liam or Fionn or Eamon. He has not even told Aisling. I dislike secrets. I detest lies, my father said heavily. We should have made all plain from the start, but it's clear this is one truth that must remain concealed for some time longer. What of Connor? Does he know any of this? The only way you will get an answer to that question is to ask him, said Finbar. And even then you may not find out what you want to know. Then I suppose it must remain unanswered until I return from Harrowfield, my father said. Thus one lie begets another, and we cease to trust. We ceased to trust when Niamh was wed to the O'Neill and sent away, I responded sharply. This tale began a long time ago. Longer than that, said Finbar quietly. I did not think I would be able to sleep. Probably none of us would sleep, except Johnny, whose infant dreams were untroubled by the shadow of parting. I carried my child along the great hall, but it was his father I spoke to in my mind. I need you. I want you here. Your arms around me and your body warm against mine to keep away the sadness. Would it make a difference if you could hear their words? If you could hear them say, he has fulfilled his purpose? Would you fight to keep us then? Or would you be afraid of what the struggle might reveal? Perhaps you would simply turn your back and walk away. Then, entering the hall, I put a sharp curb on my thoughts. Sean was there, apparently, but newly arrived from a hard ride into the night, for he was somewhat travel-stained, and I sensed his deep weariness. Leiden, I was just coming. How is our mother? For an instant I wondered why he spoke aloud and so formally. Then I saw that Aisling was with him, unfastening her cloak and rubbing her back, her face white with exhaustion. I moved forward, masking my surprise. Aisling, you must be very tired. Here, sit down. Let me fetch you wine. My words and my feet came to an abrupt halt. I suppose you did not expect us, Leiden, said Eamon as he stepped out of the shadows by the window. I regret the inconvenience. Oh. I was gaping stupidly, caught quite unprepared. No, I have been up to the north, Sean put in smoothly. For all his weariness, he read me well and quickly. I came back by Shidúv. Aisling and Eamon were anxious to pay their respects, knowing the gravity of Mother's illness, and now I must go to her. She's been asking for you. She will be very happy that you have come home in time. I'll go with you. No, don't trouble yourself. You should sit and rest. You look worn out. Why not put the boy down and take a cup of wine yourself? There was no polite way to refuse my brother's sensible suggestion. What I did not expect was that Sean would take Aisling's hand and lead her away with him, leaving me alone with Eamon. Whatever men had accompanied them on their ride must have already retired to the kitchens, and thence to a well-earned rest. The two of us were on our own, save for the sleeping child. I could think of many things I would rather be doing than talking to Eamon at that precise moment. But he was a guest. I had no choice. Hello, Bear. Welcome in. And hello, Kristen, over on Facebook. Welcome. Good to see you guys. You looked very tired, Leiden, he said gravely. Come, sit here. I laid Johnny down on cushions before the fire as I sat. It was Eamon who filled 2 cups from the wine jug and put one in my hand. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Just knocking stuff over. He stood beside my chair, looking down at the still form of my son. So this is your child. He seems healthy. And after all, a son cannot choose his father. An icy trickle of fear went down my spine. What did he mean? Thank you, I muttered. He is small, but strong. I hope to have a word with your mother before. I hope to speak with her in the morning, and your father, if there is time. I nodded, my throat tight. I wish to make my apologies in person, to express my regrets about what happened to your sister. Can you... You guys. Just a whole bunch of nutcases. There's no way I can make amends. I acknowledge that. But I hope to at least let them know I will continue to pursue the matter on an appropriate conclusion. Eamon. What is it, Leiden? It may be better simply to express your sympathy on their loss and leave it at that. My father is in some distress, and my mother is very weak. They have come to terms with Neve's accident. This is not the right time for vows of vengeance. It is not a time for anger. Any time is the right time until I remove that scum from the face of the earth, said Eamon tightly. I did not want to hear him. Dark visions hovered close. Could it be that he knew this was Bran's child? How could he know? I did not want to be drawn into talk of dangerous things. Besides, it was the middle of the night, and I was too tired to be sure of keeping my thoughts or my words under firm control. But I did not want to sleep in case Mother needed me. I moved from my chair to sit in the cushions laid out on the floor before the hearth. Here I could put my hand on my son's small body and feel his warmth. Here I could stare into the flames and dream, for there are times when dreams are safer than the real world. Eamon was watching me intently. I felt it, even though my eyes were turned away. I would have come earlier, he said quietly. Come to see your parents, come to speak to you. I have been away. A fruitless search, as it turned out. The man is difficult to follow, evasive and clever. All the same, he would be a fool to underestimate me. My network of informants is wide. The news they bring me can be astonishing at times, astonishing and unpalatable. He glanced at the sleeping child, frowning. In time I will find this outlaw. Every man has his weakness. It is simply a matter of discovering it and using it to trap him. I will find him, and he will pay in kind for his acts of savagery. He will make full and bloody reparation for what he has stolen and abased. Make no doubt of it. I said nothing, simply stroked my son's back and took another mouthful of my wine. The last time I had been weary and shared strong drink with a man, there had been far-reaching consequences. I must make no sign that I understood Eamon's thinly veiled hints. Know what he found. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Yeah. The cats are... They're wetting... Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll be back. You're getting everybody riled up. Okay. He's my prisoner now. Zoomies, yeah. Just being crazy. No. Just stay here. Just stay here. Relax. You can be a nut later. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Okay. Oh, good job, Sage. I'm sure it is a big one. You told me, like, even your first book just sounded monumentally long. But good job. Keep at it. Nope. You stay. I'm sorry, Leodin, he said. I did not come here to speak of this. I know that, Eamon. You came here to pay your respects to my mother. There was a pause. Not exactly. I was due to visit you about this time. It lacks but a few days to Belton. My heart went cold. I said nothing. Surely you have not forgotten. No, Eamon. I do not forget so easily. I had thought that matter concluded the last time we spoke of it, before you rode to Terra. Surely there can be no more to be said between us on the subject. Eamon was walking up and down now, as he seemed to do when he was trying to find the right words. Was that what you thought? You imagined I would put it all behind me, perhaps return from the South betrothed to some kinswoman of the High King. You think me weak, then, that I would give up so easily? I stared up at him. I don't know what you mean, I said slowly. It sounded as if he meant, but no, that could not be so. Johnny heaved an infant sigh and settled back to sleep. Eamon ceased pacing and knelt down beside me, rather awkwardly. A lock of hair was falling across his eyes again, and I resisted the urge to brush it back for him. I don't want another wife, Theoden. I only want you, with or without your child. I want no other. Don't, I started. No, said Eamon firmly. Hear me out. You have stayed here to nurse your mother, and that is admirable. You chose to bear your child alone. That showed courage. You will be the best of mothers, of that I am sure. Why you protect with your silence the man who fathered him, I cannot understand. It is shame, perhaps, that stops your tongue. That matters little now. He will be brought to account, but forgive me. I hear your mother is slipping away fast and has little time left in this world. Niamh is gone. Sean and Aisling will soon be wed, and a new family will come into being in this household. You will be lonely and vulnerable, Theoden. You should not become the unwed sister, the household drudge living her life through others. Already you wear yourself out trying to do everything. You need a good man to take care of you, to protect and watch over you. You need a home of your own, a place where you can see your own small family grow. Marry me and all that is yours. It was some time before I was able to speak. How can you make such an offer, when I have a child by another man? How could you take responsibility? It is unfortunate the child's a boy. Had you had a daughter, I might have brought her up as my own. Your son cannot inherit, of course, but there would be a place for him in my household. As I said, a boy does not choose his father. I might make something of him. He regarded the sleeping Johnny, frowning. It would be an interesting challenge. The look in his eyes frightened me. People would say you were crazy to make such a choice. I managed, struggling to find the right words. You could have your pick of suitable young women. You must forget me and move on. You should have done so as soon as I told you. He was sitting quite close to me now, on the floor before the fire. Eamon had always observed the formalities. He preferred to do things the right way. But this had gone far beyond all rules. Yeah, I know, Sage, you got a lot of it. 315,000 words. That's crazy. That is a lot. It's a massive book. But good luck in your endeavor. You've been working hard at it. So he had lowered himself to sit by me and Johnny, and his brown eyes had a look in them that was close to desperation. When I see you thus, his voice was not much more than a whisper. With the firelight on your hair and your hand so soft on the little one, I know there is only one choice for me. I will speak as plain as I can, and I must hope my words do not offend you. I want you in my house, waiting to put your arms around me when I come home weary from battle. I want you in my bed. I want you as my wife, my lover, and my companion. I want you to bear my children. I could not fear growing old if you were by my side. There is no other woman in the world that I would have. What you have done, your error, we can put that behind us. I offer you protection, security, my wealth, and my name. I offer legitimacy for your son. Don't refuse me, Leodin. I tried to form suitable words in my head, but none would come. You hesitate. I will, of course, seek your father's approval again, but I do not think he will object under the circumstances. I can't. Eamon looked down at his linked hands. I have heard that you were restless at Shidoof, that you found his confines difficult after the freedom you have enjoyed at Seven Waters. Too much freedom, perhaps? But I would not keep you caged like a singing bird held against its will. I have extensive land holdings in the north. If you did not wish to settle at Shidoof, I would build a new home for you that would be more to your taste. Trees, a garden, anything you wish, with appropriate security, of course. Are you sure, I said carefully, that this is not a grand gesture, an attempt to appease my family for what you see as your failure to keep my sister safe? I still cannot believe a man in your position would want to take such a step. These words were a mistake. His brows drew together in a ferocious scowl. Must I show you? And before I could move, his hand was at the back of my head, his fingers curling into my hair, and his mouth was on mine, and it was not the polite kiss of a man who likes to do things by the rules. By the time he was finished, my lip was bleeding. I'm sorry, he said curtly. I have waited a long time for you. You promised me an answer at Belton. I want your answer, Theoden. Brigid, help me. Why wouldn't Sean come back? I took a step. I took a deep breath and looked straight into his eyes. He knew, I think, an instant before I said it. I can't do it, Eamon. It is the most generous of offers, but I'll be honest with you. I just don't feel that way about you. What do you mean? What way exactly? This was more difficult than I could possibly have imagined. We've known each other a long time. I respect you. I wish you well as a friend. I want you to be content with your life. But I cannot think of you as a... I could not manage the word lover. As a husband. Is my touch so distasteful to you? So repugnant? No, Eamon. You are a fine man, and some other woman will be glad to be your wife someday. I have no doubt of that. But this would be wrong. Wrong for you, wrong for me. Terribly wrong for my son and for his father. How can you say that? He had risen to his feet, and he began to pace again, as if he must divert his feelings into some action lest they tear him apart. How can you remain loyal to this savage, when all he has done is fill your belly with his child and slink off to prey on some other innocent girl? He will never come back to you. Such a man has no concept of duty or responsibility. You are well rid of him. Stop it, Eamon. Don't make this any worse. You must listen to me, Leodin. This is a foolish decision, and indeed I wonder if you are in a fit state of mind to make it. For you are right. This is likely to be the only offer you will get, unwed and with a fatherless child. Perhaps I will be scorned for my choice, for not taking the daughter of a southern chieftain. With an impeccable pedigree and a guarantee of virginity. I care nothing for that. Where you are concerned, I have no pride left. For me, you are the only choice. Leodin, think of your family. Liam would want to see you married and well. So would your father. And what of your mother? Would it not please her to hear this news before... Stop it! That is enough! Take a little more time if you wish. You are weary, and you grieve for the loss to come. I will stay a few days, long enough for you to discuss this with your family. You may see things more clearly when... I see them clearly now, I said very quietly, as I gathered my son into my arms and got up from the cushions. It grieves me to wound such a good friend, but I see there is no other way out. I must refuse your offer, and my son, we belong to another man, Eamon. Your opinion of him does not change that, not now, not ever. To act in denial of that bond would be both foolish and dangerous. Such a choice would lead to anger and heartbreak and long bitterness. I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than go that way. I am sorry. Your offer shows the greatest generosity, and I honor you for it. You cannot refuse, he said, his struggle for self-control harshly evident in his voice. It was always intended that you and I... It is right that we should wed, Liadin. I know Liam will support this. This is finished, Aemon. My voice shook. It is nobody else's business save yours and mine. I have said no. You must move on without me. Now give me your word that you will not speak of this again. He had retreated, away from the light of the fire, and he stood half in the shadow. I can give no such undertaking, he said in a tight voice. Then I will not be able to see you again, save in the company of others, I said, finding the strength within me to keep my tears from falling. He took a step towards me, and his face was chalk pale. Don't do this, Liadin. It was as much a warning as a plea. Good night, Aemon. I turned and made for the stairs, and Johnny awoke and began to wail. And without looking behind me, I fled to the bedchamber. There I lit my candle and changed my son's damp wrappings. As I lay on my bed with the child at my breast, I let fall the tears I had held back. And as the candle with its whirls and spirals burned lower against the night sky, I saw again that image of the two of them locked together in some final struggle. Aemon's hands around Bran's neck, gripping, squeezing out the last breath. Bran's knife between Aemon's ribs, twisting ever deeper as the lifeblood flowed scarlet over the green tunic. How could I have ever thought that someday, despite all, Bran and I might be together? That he could ever be more than just a tool for the fair folk. A passing mercenary who happened to father a child and then was discarded from the tale, his part in it over. His relevance seized. He could not come back. To come close to me was death for him. Better that he had never met me, for I brought him only danger and sorrow. And now the shadow stretched out, not just over him, but over my son as well. I had seen it in Aemon's eyes. I must do as the fair folk bid me and stay in the forest. I must put Bran out of my mind. For all our sakes, I must do that. I wept and wept until my head ached, and my nose ran and my pillow was soaked. But Johnny sucked on, his tiny hand stroking my flesh, his body warm and relaxed against mine. The image of trust. And as I watched him, I knew that in every dark night there was, somewhere, a small light burning that could never be quenched. That is the end of chapter 11. You're late. That's okay, come in. Yeah, what timing, Milu? Okay, so as we have covered, that was quite the drama. Alright, let's see how long chapter 12 is. I think we can go for another hour. Because it's only been 1 hour since we started, so let's see how far we can get. By morning, my mother was slipping in and out of consciousness. The family gathered by her bedside, the folk of household and settlement clustered in the hall and the kitchens, talking together in low voices. But no work was done, save in preparation for her farewell, and that went on quietly out of doors. From time to time, Liam or Connor or Podrick would disappear for a while and return later as unobtrusively as they had left. Within her chamber, the atmosphere was calm. A cool westerly breeze came in the window, bringing the scent of lilac. I had placed a bowl on the small table, with fresh sprigs of basil and marjoram, for both of these herbs have the property to give heart in times of sorrow. It's as well she's drifting into her last sleep, said Janice quietly as we passed in the doorway. The pain will be clutching hard, too hard to bear in silence. And him, she nodded toward the small figure of my father, where he sat by the bedside. He feels it with her, every spasm. It's going to be hard for him. She asked him to return to Harrowfield, to see his family. She made him promise. Aye, She was always a wise girl, my Sorsha. She knows he'll need a purpose when she's gone. She's been his purpose since first he set foot in this house long years ago. Her shoes will never be filled by another. She looked at me closely, her gaze sharpening. Hurt your lip, lass. Best put a touch of salve on that. Time's good to bring down the swelling, but I don't need to tell you. It's nothing, I said, and went past her into the room. I will not dwell on that last time. My mother was unaware of much that passed, for already she had one foot in her new pathway. So she did not see the frozen look on my father's face, as if, even now, he could not believe he was going to lose her. She did not hear how Connor chanted quietly at the foot of her bed, or see how Finbar stared out the window in silence, his face as pale as the wing he wore in his place of his left arm. She did not see the lines of grief on Liam's strong features, or the tears in Podrick's eyes. Janice came in and out, and so did the lithe, dark-skinned woman, Samara. She was as silent and graceful as a deer, and her hands were gentle as she helped with pillows, basins, and cloths, as she lit candles and sprinkled herbs. Sean sat opposite my father, with Mother's hand in his, and Aisling was there, her wild curls held back in a neat ribbon, her small, freckled features very solemn. From time to time she would put a reassuring hand on Sean's shoulder, and he would glance up at her with a little smile. But Eamon was not there. Eamon was no longer at Seven Waters. So much for paying his respects, and making some gesture of apology to my parents for what had happened to Neve. He had remained only long enough to rest briefly and to obtain a fresh mount, they said, and then he had ridden out, straight back to Shidouv, leaving his men behind. Uncharacteristic, folks said. Discourteous, almost. Must have had bad news. I refrained from my comment. My lip ached and the swelling was plain to see, and my main feeling was intense relief that I need not see him again. When the sun was high in the sky, my mother came back to herself. There was a brief, cruel time of coughing and choking and fighting for breath, and she battled to hold back her gasps of pain. It was Finbar who soothed her then, not touching, but letting his thoughts flow into hers, blanketing her suffering with memories of good things, the innocent, shining things of childhood, with fair visions of what to come. It was no accident that he left his mind open to me, enough for me to witness again how he used this skill to salve and heal. He could not ease the pain of her body, but he could give her the means to withstand it. It was the same skill I had employed to help Neve, but Finbar was a master, and I sat in awe as he wove a bright tapestry of images for her, as he made a pattern of his love to celebrate his sister's life and herald her passing. At length she was quiet, lying back on the pillows, her breathing easier. "Is everything ready?" she whispered. "Have you done it all as we planned?" "All is prepared," said Connor gravely. "Good. It's important. People need to say farewell. That's one thing the Britons don't always understand." She looked up at my father. "Red?" He cleared his throat, unable to find his voice. "Tell me a story," she said, soft as the little spring breeze. My father gave one agonized look around the room, at the silent uncles, at the hovering Janice, and Samara quietly tending the fire, at me and Sean and Aisling. I don't think... Come, said Sorsha. And there might have been only the two of them in the world. Sit here on the bed. Put your arms around me. That's good, dear heart. Remember that day we shared? Alone on a wild shore. Alone save for the gulls and the seals. The waves and the west wind. You told me a beautiful story that day. That is the tale I love best of all. I realized then, as never before, how strong a man my father was. He knew as he sat there with Sorsha in his arms and told his tale with tears streaming down his face, that with each word he spoke, she slipped a little further away. That by the time his story was finished, she would be gone. He knew that he must share this most private of farewells with all of us. but his quiet voice telling the tale was as strong and firm as the great oaks of the forest, and his hand stroking my mother's hair back from her temple moved as steadily as the sun moves across the arch of the sky. It was indeed a beautiful tale. It was the story of a lonely man who takes a mermaid for his wife, how he charms her with the music of his whistle so that she forsakes the ocean to follow him. For 3 years he kept her, and she bears him 2 little daughters, but her longing for the world beneath the waves is too strong, and in the end he gives her up because he loves her. There came a point in the tale when my father's voice faltered. Sorsha had given a little sigh and her eyes had closed, and her fingers, which had clutched a fold of my father's tunic as he held her against his breast, let go their grip as her hand fell to rest against his knee. There was complete silence. It was as if the whole room, and the household, and the wild things of lake and forest all held their breath for that instant in time. Then my father took up the tale again. Toby's little daughters grew into fine... Oh my god, you guys. Okay. Nope, go in here. This is driving me nuts. Oh. You go back there too. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. Alright. Sorry. They were becoming way too distracting. I know. They may as well be my fur children. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a rough time of the book, especially since the first book you're getting very attached to Sorsha, right? So having been kind of somewhat intimately close to her story in Reds, and then you're reading about this in the second book, is definitely rough, because she's only in her, like, at the latest mid-30s. You know, she's pretty young. Very tragic. But okay. Now that the children have all been separated, hopefully it'll be a little quieter. I am sure, Maddie. Okay. Let me find a spot. Okay. Toby's little daughters grew into fine young women, and in time they took husbands for themselves, and today there are many folk in those parts with dark, tangled hair like seaweed, and far-seeing eyes and a talent for swimming. But that is another story. He hesitated again, his eyes staring straight ahead, unfocused, and I saw his hand tighten on my mother's shoulder. As for Toby himself, I said, knowing others must finish this tale for him. He had thought his life would be over when he lost her. He had thought that an ending, and so it was in its way. But as the wheel turns and returns, every ending is at the same time a beginning, and so it was with him. Every day he would go down to sit on the rocks and gaze out westward over the water. Connor took up the narrative in his soft, expressive voice. And sometimes, just sometimes, he would get out his little whistle and play a few notes, a fragment of a reel or of the refrain from some old ballad he remembered. Podrick was standing beside his brother, and he had his arm around Samara. He watched and waited for her, said Podrick, but the sea folk seldom show themselves to humankind, and yet sometimes at dusk out in the water, he thought he could see graceful forms swimming in the half-light, white arms, long, drifting hair, and splashing tails bright with jewel-like scales. He fancied he saw them gazing at him with plaintive, liquid eyes like those of his daughters, eyes with the look of the wild ocean in them. Then he would make his way homeward, said Liam, who had moved up on the other side next to Shushan. Oh my gosh, I can talk. I swear. Late 30s would have been considered old at the time. Yeah, I mean, I think probably 50s would. Obviously, a lot of people like died young at this time, but still, I think probably 50s was considered old. But it's neither here nor there. Continue on. I'll try not to bumble over myself. Okay. And when he went indoors, instead of lighting his small lantern, he would leave his door open and let the moonlight flood into the little hut where he lived on the rocky headland. And sometimes he would sit on the steps below the door and gaze across the shining pathway, wondering how it would have been to live there in the depths of the great ocean, a child of Manannán mac Lir. Nobody quite knew what happened to him in the end. I could hear from Sean's voice that he had been crying, but like the rest of them, he kept his tone as steady as he could. It seemed to me he had grown up quickly this last season. Folks said he'd been seen wandering on the shore at the darkness of the late night. Others told of seeing him swimming out to sea, far, far beyond the farthest stretch of safe water, and heading steadily westward. His daughters were at their grandmother's. The cottage was tidy and everything as it should be, but one day he simply wasn't there anymore. And they say if you visit those parts, Finbar spoke from where he still stood by the window, with his back to us, that you'll see him close to the midnight, when the moon is full. If you go down quietly to the shore and sit very still on the tumbled boulders there, there'll be a splashing and a turmoil out in the water, and you'll see the forms of the sea people, swimming and playing close to the margin of ocean and land. Folks say Toby will be there among them, his white body touched to silver in the moonlight, and the water slipping by him as easily as it caresses the fine scales of a fish. But whether he be man or creature of the deep, nobody knows. She was gone. We all knew it. But nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Still, my father held her tight in his arms, as if he might preserve that last moment of life, as long as he stayed completely still. His lips were against her hair and his eyes were closed. Outside, the breeze came up, sending a gust of cool air through the window, lifting Finbar's dark curls off his brow, stirring the snowy expanse of his fine feathers at his side. And then, out in the trees, the birds began to sing again, their calls rising and blending, greeting and farewell, celebration and mourning, the voice of the forest itself, as it saluted the moment of Sorsha's passing. She had not held on until dusk. Maybe that was deliberate, for when we were able to move, when we could make ourselves move, each of us went in and turned to kiss her cheek, to touch her hair, and then we went silently from the room in ones and twos and left my father alone with her. There was time for that before the sun slipped below the horizon. Time for me to reclaim Johnny from the nursemaid and feed him once more, wondering how many tears I could shed before there would be no more left. Time for Sean and Aisling to slip away quietly, and maybe seek comfort in each other's arms. Time for the uncles to retreat to the family's private chamber, share a jug or two of strong ale, and exchange tales of the childhood they had shared in the forest of Seven Waters. The 6 brothers and their one small sister. Now only the 4 of them were left. It was as she had requested. At dusk we gathered on the lake shore in the place where a beautiful birch tree grew. There were flaming torches placed on poles, casting a glowing light on the faces of my uncles as they stood in a circle about the tree. Liam gave a nod to Sean, and my brother went in his turn to join them. "Come, Needon." 2 silent voices summoned me, Connor's and Finbar's. I went to stand between them. The circle was almost complete. Down by the water where the lake laid gentle fingers on the shore, a small boat was drawn up. My uncle Podrick, who was expert in these things, had constructed this craft with meticulous care. It was just long enough to serve its purpose. At the prow was a torch waiting to be lit, and all along the length of the boat were festooned flowers and leaves and feathers, and many small offerings from the forest to see her on her way. My mother lay ready in the boat, pale and still in her white gown, on a bed of soft cushions. Samara had woven a little wreath of heather and hawthorn, of clover and marigold, and this Sorsha wore on her dark curling hair. She looked no more than 16 years old. My father stood on the shore alone, gazing out over the darkening waters of the lake. "Ubden," Liam spoke quietly. There was no response. "Ubden, it's time." Podrick's voice was louder. "You are needed here." But my father ignored them, and the set of his shoulders were forbidding. Still, Liam was not Lord of Seven Waters for nothing. Now he stepped out of the solemn circle and walked over to the big nun, putting a hand on his shoulder. Father moved slightly, and the hand fell away. "Come, it's time to let her go. Already the sun sinks below the trees." Father turned then, his eyes full of anguish. Gone was the control he had showed telling her that last story. "Do it without me," he said, with a bitterness I had never heard in his voice before. "There is no place for me here. It's finished. I am not one of you, and I never will be." Then Liam put out his hand again, very deliberately, and clasped my father by the shoulder, and this time he did not allow himself to be shaken off. "You are our brother," he said quietly. "We need your help. Come." So the circle was complete, and we made our farewells according to the old tradition. In an outer ring stood the druids and the men and women of the household, and from time to time they echoed Connor's solemn words. Sometimes other voices could be heard, stranger voices that whispered in the wind from the trees, and murmured in the ripples of the lake, and sang deep from the rocks and hollows of the land itself. And once, when I looked toward the place where the green sward ended in the great mysterious forms of oak and ash and beech began, complex and shadowy in the velvet twilight, I saw figures standing there, half concealed under the spreading branches. A tall woman, white-faced, with a cloak of blue and a curtain of dark hair. A man crowned with bright flames, taller than any mortal. And others, jeweled, winged, half seen amid the dark tracery of leaf and twig. The ritual completed, Connor led the way down to the water's edge, and there he cupped his hands and blew into them, quite gently, and a little flame glowed suddenly and golden between his curving fingers. He walked into the water, heedless of his long robe, and put his hands to the torch that was fixed in the prow of Sorsha's little boat. The torch flared, and a bright pathway appeared before the small craft, gleaming in the inky surface of the lake. Farther up the sward, a lone piper stood ready. My spine tingled as the voice of the pipes reached out over the silent trees, the still water, on and upward into the night. "It is time," Connor said quietly. Then each of us put a hand to the stern of the little curragh, and my father was between Liam and Connor. We gave the craft the gentlest of pushes, but it was hardly necessary, for already the water was rippling by the prow, as if the boat were anxious to be out on its journey. And as it swung out from the bank and the current took it, I could see long, pale hands reaching up from beneath, guiding my mother's vessel on its way, and I could hear liquid voices singing her name, Sorsha, Sorsha. "Go safe, little owl," said Connor in a voice I hardly recognized. And Finbar pushed back his dark cloak and spread his single wing, so that the glorious expanse of shining feathers glowed rose and orange and gold in the torchlight, a brave banner of farewell. But my father stood motionless and silent, frozen by his loss as the piper's lament sung across the forest. '50s is not old now, but in another time, 50s was considered old because not many people reached it. You know, we're definitely living longer these days. I strained my eyes to keep her in sight as far as I could, for I too grieved, though I understood my mother was not gone, only moved on to another life, another turn of the wheel. She had wanted it thus, Why not lie at rest in the heart of the forest where you belong? Connor had asked. Why not remain here at Seven Waters, Liam had said, for you are the daughter of the forest. But Podrick had said, let Saoirse choose. And what she wanted most of all was to take the path of that river, to be borne along on its current away from the lake, as she had once done long ago. For, she had said, smiling, that very waterway had deposited her, quite by chance, in the hands of a red-haired Briton, and had he not become her true love and her heart's delight. So she would choose that path again and see where it took her. I stood and stared into the darkness as the music wept, and an owl cried in the night. Folk began to disperse, heading back to the house. My father, his head bowed, shepherded by the uncles. Sean hand in hand with Aisling. Janice and her assistants hastening to make the final preparations for the feast, since a good feast, with music, is an essential part of such a farewell. I went to thank the piper. He was surely a man of near magical skills, for that lament had echoed my innermost thoughts. Its lilting melody had conjured up Saoirse's courage, her strength of spirit, and her deep love for the forest and its people. The piper was packing his instrument away neatly in its goatskin bag. He was a thin man, dark-bearded, with a little gold ring in his ear. His assistant, taller, hooded, held the bag open for him. The piper gave me a polite nod. I wanted to thank you, I said. I don't know who invited you to play here, but it was a good choice. Your music comes from the heart. Thank you, my lady. A great teller of tales such as your mother deserves a fitting farewell. He had stowed the pipes and now lifted the bag onto his shoulder. You're welcome to return to the house for food and ale, I told him. Have you far to travel home? The man gave a crooked grin. A tidy old step, he said. The ale wouldn't go amiss, but... He glanced at his silent companion. It was only then that I noticed, in the near darkness, the large black bird perched on this man's shoulder, claws gripping tight, small, sharp eyes fixed on me, praising. A raven. Seems to me, said the piper, setting off in the direction of the house as if something had been decided between the two of them, without the need for words. A drink or two wouldn't hurt, and I have to catch up with the old auntie. Can't very well visit these parts without doing that. She'd never forgive me. Auntie? I queried, having to move briskly to keep up with him, for he set a fair pace. Behind us, the hooded man walked in silence. I realized, as we made our way back through the forest, that the piper was one of Janice's tribe of far-flung connections. A traveling man, Danny Walker, they called him. It was a little odd. Hadn't she once said Dan was from Kerry? That surely was a long way to come, even for this. We reached the path that led up to the main door of the keep. From within there was a sound of voices, and lanterns burned outside to light the way. Your friend is welcome too, I said to the piper, and I looked over my shoulder. The hooded man, dark bird on shoulder, had halted a few paces away. Clearly he did not intend to follow us inside. Will you come in? I asked him politely. I think not. I froze where I stood. Surely I had heard this voice before. Yet if it were so, it was terribly changed. Before it had been young, passionate, and full of hurt. Now it seemed far older. A man's voice that was cold with restraint. He spoke again. Go in, Dan. Take this night to visit your kinfolk and rest yourself. I'll speak with the lady in the morning. And with that, he turned and disappeared down the path beyond the hedge. He'll not come in, said Dan flatly. I blinked. Perhaps I had imagined the whole thing. Does he mean me? I asked hesitantly. The lady, he said. Myself? As to that, said Dan, you'd need to ask him. I'd be down early in the morning if I were you. He won't stay here long. Doesn't like to leave her, you understand. There was no choice to ask him any more. I had duties as the lady of the house. I must offer support to all who grieved, and share in the songs and tales with which we sent my mother on her way with honor and love. There was ale and mead and spiced cakes, music and talk and fellowship. There were smiles and tears. At length I made my way to bed, thinking the hooded stranger would be gone in the morning, and the whole thing might simply be blamed on the sight leading me astray. That is unfortunate, Esther. But I'm glad you enjoy running and walking still. That's nice. Yeah, collies need a lot of stimulation for sure. I didn't know he was a border collie. Still, I was up early and out in the herb garden, knowing it would be hard this first day without my mother. Aware I must come here and be among her special things, in the midst of her quiet domain. If I were to teach myself that life would go on without her loving presence, her gentle guiding hand. I had left Johnny with the nursemaid. It was too cold for him to be out of doors. I walked along the path, plucking a small weed here and a smaller one there, knowing I was waiting. It was barely dawn. I sensed him just before I saw him. A cold feeling went up my spine, and I returned toward the archway. He stood immobile in the shadows, a tall figure, still cloaked and hooded in black. The bird sat on his shoulder like some creature carven in dark stone. "Will you come in?" I asked him, still doubting the accuracy of my memory. Then he stepped forward and slipped the hood back, revealing a pale, intense face and the darkest of eyes, and a head of hair that deep color at the heart of winter sunset. "Kieran," I breathed. "It is you." Elsie is a border collie? Yeah, I didn't know that.
My love, I believe TikTok went down.
Okay. How do I check it? Here?
Well, you're gonna have to clear the. It gave you a. It must have given you a. Pull this over to that screen. Yeah, it gave you a captcha.
Oh, my bad.
The X is over there. The big X, not the small. There you go. Now you can just hit go live again and it'll take you live. They started doing the captures again and I don't know why. There you go.
So how do I see when it comes up?
It'll pop up in the middle of the screen there.
Just didn't see it. Okay, maybe I'll put this here so I can see it better. Bear says hello. Maddie says hello. Yeah,
Good evening,
I
everyone.
feel bad. And I didn't see that some roses came in. So now I can't say thank you to them. That's frustrating.
Yeah, it looks like
Stupid TikTok.
it looks like it's probably been down for about 30 minutes too.
Oh no! We didn't have our Capitan here to let me know. Sad.
Big set.
I feel bad. Yeah, it'd be the goblins. I feel bad. Dang it. Hey Kayla! How are you? Apparently I lost TikTok a while ago and I didn't even know. So.
Hello Esther, hello Milu, hello Bear, hello Frost, hello Matty, hello everyone. Sage, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're all enjoying yourselves and behaving for the lady.
They are all doing very well.
Cool. Glad to hear it.
It's much quieter when I stream because I don't go on all the tangents you do.
It's true.
Gotta tease them a little. But it's good to see you, Kayla. Welcome in.
Alright, I must return to my
Hopefully,
telling your stories.
okay. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome, Mother.
Did a mental health weekend and now I feel better. Good. It's important to be aware when your body and your mind are in need of some tending. Well, I'm glad, Maddie. Oh, that's okay, Esther. It's totally not your responsibility. I couldn't even tell that it went down. I feel bad because, hello, Haley. Do you explain mythology? Me specifically, I do not. That would be Castle, my husband. He is the great storyteller here. I am just reading someone else's story, technically. We did do some streams in the past where he would just answer questions about a mythology topic. We haven't done that in a long while. We've just been doing the readings, but we will be rearranging the schedule again because I think we need to spend more time on some of the other tavern projects for you guys. But maybe I can convince him to do that again. I am reading the book Papa Bear Jakey. We are reading Son of Shadows by Juliette Marie. You guys need some sleep and a break. Well, we kind of did because we got sick and I felt okay, but my throat was so scratchy. I was like, I'm not going to be able to read. Yeah, we are in, what chapter are we in now? We are in chapter 12. But I was hoping that the people that were in here before I lost TikTok would come back because a couple of people had given roses and I didn't get to say thank you. I'm terrible. Terrible, terrible. You were going to ask about Lost Souls of the Wild Hunt. There are quite a few videos over on the Tube of You. There's a lot of videos on that over there if we haven't taken them down. I know we did take down a lot of older videos because we plan to remake them, but you can definitely check it. He did like a whole series on the Wild Hunt. The Tube of You, yeah. I don't know, TikTok gets all weird if you mention other platforms, you know? Castle devices that helped me immensely. Okay, I'm glad. Very good. We really don't help with those tangents, though. We love to egg them on. I know, you guys are terrible. Oh, that would be cool, Haley. That would be very cool. Yeah, check them out, and then maybe if we can get just a chatty stream for talking about that stuff, he'd be happy to answer your questions. He's got all kinds of different stories about the Wild Hunt. Because, you know, it changes depending on, like, where you are. Also, hi Castle, what's your favorite color? What's Castle's favorite color? That's a good question. We've talked about this, but I don't think he has a particular one, which is kind of silly, I know. I think it's just kind of like me, like we like blues and greens, like darker colors. You like blue? I like the Book of Faces sometimes. Yes. Like I said, I like blues and greens. I'm so pale, like I can't wear bright colors, so I tend to be drawn towards like muted blues and greens, burgundy. But, yeah. Okay, so let's get back to it. Hopefully that gave enough time for people to trickle back in here. Alright. So Kiaran has shown up, which is definitely taking Leodin by surprise. Why did you not show yourself? Connor is here. He would want to see you. Will you not come inside and speak to him? No. The chilling finality of his tone silenced me. The great bird reached down with a beak like a butcher's knife to adjust its plumage. Its eye was feral. I am not come for that. No show of family spirit. I am not fool enough to believe that chasm can be bridged. I'm here to bring a message. What message? I asked quietly. For her mother, he said. Neve wanted to say, I love you. Forgive me. But I am come too late. I could not speak. It will grieve her that I was not here in time, said Kiaran softly. Mother would know. It doesn't matter that it is now, after. She would still know. Is Neve... is she well? Is she better and safe? How did you... She is well enough. much changed. His tone was calm, but I sensed beneath it the deepest of sorrows, a burden such as no young man should have to bear. I could not read what was in his eyes. The laughing girl who dazzled us at Imbolc is gone. She has not yet found her way, but she is safe. Where? Where safe? How did you? Safe. Where is unimportant. He had a druid's way with answers. With you? I asked. Kiaran gave a sort of nod. She needs protection. I failed her once, but that at least I can provide. We fell silent for a while. Small birds were starting to call, harbingers of a new dawn and a new season. We could be a shiny blue and green dragon pair, yeah. Oh, that's cute. You've been doodling dragons. You can go share them in Gilded. We have a section. Yeah, drawing fantasy creatures can be very difficult because you're pulling from something that doesn't exist at reference, so you kind of have to look at a lot of different animals to try to piece it together, right? I am Neve's sister, I said finally. I would like to know, at least, where she is and whether she might return when the truth is known. I told my father. He understands now what an error they made when they chose a husband for her. It might be possible. Could you not bring her back here and... His laugh startled me. The sound was dark with bitterness. Bring her back? How could that be? I said nothing, wondering at his response. Was there not some hope that things might at length be well? I did not want to believe my efforts and Bran's had been quite futile. They never told you, said Kiaran bleakly. Never told me what? That feeling seized me again, a terror, a chill in the core of my body like a touch of darkness past or evil to come. The truth, why they forbid me to wed Neve and sent the two of us away. Why we can never return and will never wish to. How we are cursed, doubly cursed by the keeping of secrets. They did not tell you. I suppose that is why you helped us when nobody else would. If you had known the truth, you would have spurned us. I shrank from the cynical tone of his voice, so changed from the ardent, glowing hope with which he had once told his tale of love. You'd better tell me everything, I said. My friends put themselves in great danger to help her. Tell me the truth, Kiaran. There's talk of an old evil awake, of things stirring that can harm us all. What is it? Tell me. I went to sit on the old stone bench that stood between feathery clumps of wormwood and chamomile, and he moved closer. The bird cawed and flew up into the lilac tree, where it perched rather precariously on a slender branch. It was cruel, said Kiaran quietly. In the early morning light his face was ghost white. Cruel that they kept the truth from her. No wonder she thought herself abandoned, for she did not know why I'd fled, what drove me away. She did not understand that our union was cursed. Cursed, I echoed stupidly, not knowing what he might mean. Forbidden by blood. It was not until that night when I came to Seven Waters with my heart beating high, prepared to do battle for my lady if it came to it, that Connor deigned to tell me at last who I was. All those years he'd kept it from me, a long secret never to be told. I thought myself a foundling, an infant lucky enough to be fostered by the wise ones and brought up in the haven of the forest. I dreamed of nothing more than to follow in Connor's footsteps, to dedicate myself to the ways of the Brotherhood. Then I met Neve, and it was time for the secret to be told. In the back of my mind, somewhere, things began to sort of make sense. A terrible, twisted, inevitable sense. Connor told you who you were. He did, and I could never wed Neve. That what we had done was shameful and wrong, a breaking of natural laws, an abhorrence, though it was done in innocence. Our union could never be sanctioned, for I am the son of Colum of Seven Waters by his second wife, the Lady Oonagh. I am half-brother to Connor and to Liam. half-brother to Neve's mother and yours. The woman who gave birth to me was a sorceress who nearly destroyed this family and all it held dear. So in one blow, Connor stripped me from my love, my future, my hope of joy and my life's purpose. Not only was I forbidden Neve, I was as well cast out of the Brotherhood, cut adrift with no star to guide me. All were quenched, every one. That's not what Connor said. Huh. A sorceress's son can never be a druid. I carry the blood of a cursed line. Such as one I can never aspire to the highest arts of the wise ones, the realm of light, the inspiration of pure spirit. It is beyond me and always would have been. I know that now. If I am her son, then I am a son of the shadows, condemned to walk in darkness. How could he raise me all these years and keep this from me that I will never understand? That lie I will never forgive him. The Lady Oonagh's child, I breathed. He was never accounted for in the story. Simply he vanished from Seven Waters when she did, when the enchantment was undone. Convenient. Kjaran's tone was bitter. My father found me and brought me back. I lived in the Nemetons for 18 years, Theoden. I thought myself in every way a druid. Imagine, then, the blow the revelations of that night dealt me. And I compounded my own shame. I ran away. I abandoned Neve to despair and abuse. The burden of that I live with every day. No matter how carefully I guard her, no matter how strong a shield I place around her, I cannot shut out what has been done that night, for its legacy is lodged deep within us both. A shield, a guard. I said carefully. Where did you go when you left Seven Waters that night? Connor said you went to find your past. Was it your mother you sought out? Is she? I stopped myself. Some things, it seemed to me, were too dangerous to be spoken aloud. I told him. There was a darkness in Kjaran's voice. I told Connor. I said a man cannot escape the blood that runs in his veins. No matter whether he discovers as a child or much later, when he thinks himself a different sort of creature entirely, one perhaps who might aspire to nobility of mind, to great goodness. It matters not, for sooner or later that seed is in us, it comes to fruition. That heritage we bear begins to rule us. Perhaps if they had not told me, I might have grown old before the foul blood I bear made itself known, and forced me to turn back on the light. Now I do not know. And I do know what happened, I told him, and I will find out just what powers this inheritance brings and how I may wield them. You may not be so ready then to call me brother. Then I went away, farther in spirit than in my body. A perilous journey. My mother knows well the art of concealment. She did not wish to be found, not yet, but I found her. I have learned to cross the margin to that realm where she now hides herself, where she awaits. How could you do such a thing? It is part of the druid training, to learn to walk over and to return. A test by fire and water, by earth and air. I had endured it before, but this was different. Oh, did Sage go to bed? Oh, I missed him. This song sounds kind of loud. Okay. Okey-dokey. His voice trembled. At that moment I was able to remember he was not, after all, an old, embittered man, but a young one not so much older than myself. You say she waits. Waits for what? Kjaran folded his arms and stared away from me up into the cold morning sky. You have many questions, he said. It has been a long time with no news, I said quietly. I, too, have a message. Or rather, I have something to return to my sister. I have it here. She'll be needing this, I think. I reached into the pouch at my belt and took out the necklace I had made for Neve, the cord into which the love of her family was woven, a talisman of unbreakable strength. Kieran took it in his hand, and his long, bony fingers touched the small white stone that still hung there. For the most fleeting instant he smiled, and I saw again the youth of Imbolc, whose look of joy and pride had shone from his intense features as he lit the fires of spring. "She thought this lost," he said. "You have kept it well. Thank you. We love her." I was very close to weeping. "You don't seem to understand that. Do you have to take her away, wall her up like some princess in a tale, too precious to be seen by ordinary folk? Are we never to see her again? Never to see her child, save in visions?" It was as if time ceased, as if breath ceased, for one still moment, and then went on. "Child?" There was something in the word that clutched my heart as nothing had done. "I am granted a sight of these things from time to time," I told him, thinking now I had no choice but to do so. "What will or may be. I saw Neve with a little child, an infant with dark red curls such as your own, and eyes like ripe berries. On the sand, in a cave, it seems to me there is a path forward for the two of you. Not the path my uncle or my father would have chosen for you, not the way Connor would have had you follow, for he wanted you to return to the Nemetons, whatever you may think. I don't want to believe I may never see my sister again, or there are dangers such as you could scarcely dream of." His tone was hushed, edgy now. "A path I was directed to follow, a path she, my mother, wishes me to take. She waits for my answer. She offered me much. Power such as a man can scarcely comprehend, skills beyond the furthest art of archdruid, arts beyond the last page of the thickest grimoire of the oldest mage. I can learn from her, and I will. I will show my brother what I can do and what I can be." Is this a threat? To carry out what the Lady Oonagh could not? I was shivering and did not seem to be able to stop. In my mind was a little picture of my sister, fading and shrinking away from me. "As for that, it will be as it must be. Neve and I, you must understand, the past cannot be remade, whatever our dreams whisper to us. Some ills cannot be undone, and yet, when I told her the truth of it, she opened her arms to me as if there were nothing to forgive. I spit on the laws of men that lay down what we may or may not feel for each other. In all this web of sorrow and darkness, the bond between us is single bright thread, too strong to be severed. I will keep her safe. I will pledge all this in me to protect her. That comes first above all. More than that I cannot say, for beyond that my path is unknown, as yet unmade. As for her family and mine, I care nothing for them. They treated us with contempt. They lost their right to her when they cast her out of Seven Waters. Still, to you we owe a debt. To you and the man who got her away from that place and made sure word reached me. For this reason I bring you a gift." "What gift?" I began as I spoke. Kieran gave the smallest of glances to the great bird where it perched on the tree above us. And with a slight lift of the wings and a brief, intense moment of air, the raven flew neatly down and settled on my shoulder, a not inconsiderable weight. Its beak was alarmingly close to my eye, and I felt its claws through the cloak and shawl and gown. "Oh," I said, and then was quite lost for words. "A messenger," said Kieran. "A loan more than a gift. You may have need of him, but remember, such a creature must be called upon only at the extreme. Only when all else has failed and you are without aid, and body and spirit reach the end of their strength, then send him. Such a messenger should not be employed lightly." "I see," I said, and not seeing at all. What was this great creature? Some sort of sorcerer's familiar? I had so many questions to ask. Too many. "It's time to go." Kieran seemed suddenly restless, as if his mind already moved ahead of him to some distant place. "I cannot be away long." "Still, it's quite a journey to carry," I said cautiously. "From one full moon to the next, and longer, would it not be?" "That's the way Dan would prefer, by horseback or walking," Kieran said. But there are other ways. I see, I said again, and my mind on old tales about druids and sorcerers. I wondered how much he had learned in those 18 years, and how much more since I had last seen him. Farewell, then. I would have you know, I blurted out, needing him to know, needing my sister to know that I was not as cold-hearted as they believed me. Even if I had been told who you were and why I was forbidden, I would still have helped her. I love her. If she is with you, despite all, perhaps that is in some way right. Perhaps in some way that is what's meant to be, law or no law. Kieran gave a nod. One way or another it will unfold, he said, sounding like a druid again. And as if summoned, though there had been no summons that I could detect, Dan Walker appeared in the archway to the garden, whistling under his breath. The goatskin bag balanced neatly on his shoulder. We're away, then, he inquired matter-of-factly. And before I could utter another word, Kieran moved like a shadow, and the two of them were gone. I followed, feeling the weight of the unexpected gift on my shoulder, and the clutch of its claws in my flesh. I came out onto the path, and I looked down beyond the hedges to the margin of the forest, but there was nobody to be seen. And welcome, Ben and Brian. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for sharing, Kayla. Appreciate that. I'm going to take a wee break. We've almost hit 2 hours. We're getting there. I know it's actually getting quite late for some of you, so... You have quite a bit left in this chapter. Another 10 pages. That's funny, Maddie. What is this late concept you speak of? Yeah. It's a concept we should all be well aware of. I also stay up far too late. In the afternoon for you, but that's because you're on the other side of the world. Is that wake up juice? It is, actually. When is it not, though, Maddie? It's always wake up juice. 2 in the afternoon? So not too late for you. But yeah, my throat's getting all hoarse because I'm not used to doing this. I am the future, yeah. You are. You and me with our wake-up juice, that is true. Capitan also. It's funny, she'll always send me, like, joke videos and stuff talking about how men usually are like, you need to be more hydrated, and they're like, well, I drink coffee, I'm hydrated. Like, no, there's water in it. And it's true, there's water in it, so it counts. Water? Never heard of it. You should. I force myself to drink water. I actually don't really like water, which some people completely agree with me, and then there's a lot of people that are like, why would you not like water? Because it doesn't taste like anything, but that is wrong. It doesn't have any flavor, but it definitely has its own sort of flavor. Like, you can taste all the minerals and chemicals in there. You love coffee in the morning, Esther, which is appropriate. I like to kind of sip at mine throughout the day so I can enjoy the flavor, because I don't drink it for the caffeine. Like, it actually kind of calms me down. But I'm like, I can make it last longer if I just sip at it. I drink heaps of water. Mine just has hops and malts to it. Yep. A little after 12 a.m. I am here. Oh, okay. Teresa's still here. Team water hater. There we go. Kameen gets it. During my streams, I go through 2 cups of wake up juice. Oh, wow. I drink Tasmania mountain water. Tastes different from town or tap water. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. You know what's kind of silly? There's a... I don't remember what it was called, but it's essentially like a water bar. And it's here in Los Angeles. And they basically just have water taken from different places throughout the world. And they make it all like fancy and upscale. It's like, I'm like, that is really strange. Okay. It sounds like a terrible place. It wouldn't be my first choice. But I did find it kind of interesting. It's like, oh, this is from this well in this country, blah, blah, blah. And then they move on to another one. It was in a documentary. Shoot, I don't remember what it was. I can't remember. So, selling water in a fancy place? Yes. The bougiest of water. Yeah, come drink our fancy water. And I mean, I believe it. Obviously, it would taste different depending on where it comes from because it's going to have a different makeup of minerals, right? So I understand they have different flavors, but I thought it was kind of hilarious that it was kind of like a wine bar, but water. I couldn't even imagine how much that costs either. It's probably something stupid. You can taste the Greeks in this Greek water. Gross, Maddie. Stop it. I don't think I'd want that, to be honest. That's funny, and thank you, Papa Bear Jakey, for the roses. I appreciate that. The documentary was called Down to Earth. Why doesn't that ring a bell? Did that have Zac Efron in it? I think it was in that documentary. Yes? Okay. Alright, thank you. So there, Haley told me it's called Down to Earth, and I think, gosh, it's been so long since I saw it, but it's basically Zac Efron kind of pulling away from that Hollywood life and getting more interested in what a lot of people would call like a more hippie mentality. It was a really interesting documentary though. I liked it. But he and one of his companions kind of traveled all over the world where they were doing more sustainable practices, stuff like that. Welcome in, Margot Tick. Thank you for the follow. We have recycled water here, not good to drink. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Like, I don't think recycled water is it's not for consumption. Are pagans technically hippies too, in a way? I mean, it depends on the person and what somebody considers a pagan to be. I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's a lot of religious aspect to what people consider pagan nowadays. But from a Christian sense, a pagan's just somebody that doesn't believe in God, right? So I think it depends on who you're talking to, Maddie. Yeah. Oh, there was 2 seasons, Esther? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I saw the 2nd season then. Raisin Stark Bar? I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, no, like, if you... Oh my gosh, this pillow. If it is against the Bible, just talking about something isn't wrong. Yeah, just talking about something isn't wrong. Like, if you ask Castle, he'll explain that being a pagan didn't mean that it was a religious thing back in the day. That's kind of more of a recent development. But it is interesting. It is interesting. It is interesting to look into like how that came about and why there's, stuff like Asatru and that going on now. But, it's To each their own, like. But I don't know if that would make them hippies, Maddie. I mean, a lot of hippies would say that they don't want to eat meat or something, right? Like a lot of them are vegan or vegetarian. And there's a lot of people that consider themselves Vikings that would definitely not like that lifestyle. And they would technically be pagan, right? You know, I think it just depends on the person. Yeah, I just learned about Yule, and it is cool, deep meaning that the light always returns. Yeah. And everyone has their, like, if you, each culture, and even, like, beyond that, like, if you go to one country, there are many, many different tribes that kind of had a little bit of a different way of celebrating and treating Yule. And maybe for some people it was a religious thing, and then for others it definitely was not. It was just a tradition thing. The Furious Viking did a post recently about being a heathen as opposed to a pagan. That's funny. I mean, I'll have to take a look at it. But again, like, it's just, there's all these words that get thrown around. Like, even, like, people like, oh, I'm just, you know, I'm a Viking. And it's like, really? You're a modern day pirate pillaging people? Like, being a Viking is not a, like, you were from a specific people. It was a profession, if you can even call it that. Piracy is a profession. So, I mean, if you want to say, like, oh, I'm descended from the Danes or some other Scandinavian line, then you can say that, and that makes more sense. Keep your meat hidden from everyone, please. Yeah. It's my meat from the vegans. There's so many amazing overlaps and beliefs around the world. Yes, there is. I mean, that's how culture works. Like, however people want to see it as if we're being so separated, we're really not. Like, all of our cultures have been influenced by others over the centuries and millennia. Piracy is definitely a profession, like cat burglar. Yeah. The darkest night to light, it can even fit in well with a Christian if they do it correctly. Yeah. And honestly, a lot of Christian monks that went to areas like Scandinavia, as well as what is the modern United Kingdom, they did celebrate those things with the people there. So it's not always like the people who were following Christianity were like, bring the torches and burn the witches. That was kind of a different group of Christians. And it was not a religious thing, it was a political thing, so. They went to Viking. It was never a race, yeah. I think it's amazing how many areas have a story of a great flood. That one is, I think, the one that fascinates me the most. Yeah, it is fascinating. I'm basically omnitheistic, Hellenistic pagan, and that is an interesting choice, Maddie. But happy for you, I suppose. You seem happy. So omnitheistic means he has more than one belief, and Hellenistic is specific to the Greek pantheon. Burn the witch! What witch? I'm neither, I'm just a ghost. That's right. Esther has become Ghost Esther. It means I believe in all gods, but primarily following the Greek gods. I believe in the earth and nature and giving as much as we take from it. It's called the cycle of life. Only she weighs as much as a duck? What? What are you talking about, Frost? Did I miss something? Who weighs as much as a duck? Oh, it's a Monty Python reference? I don't remember that. I was so confused. okay, I got it. I gotcha. That's funny. I haven't watched Monty Python in forever. Yeah. I didn't remember that. Imagine that in a belief system. Yeah. Holy Grail we watch as like I've watched it a few times, but there's only like a few things that really stuck with me. Like it is funny. It is definitely funny, but there's also a lot of it that just went out my brain. Like I remember the Knights of Ni, and of course my son really enjoyed that part. And I remember the Deadly Rabbit and the coconuts clopping like a horse. And the knight, I don't remember which knight, but he like kept fighting even though he had no limbs. Vorpal Bunny, yeah. There's some who call me Tim. When my boyfriend said he hadn't seen it, was Error 101 for me? Yeah, that's when you're like, okay, well, we're watching that tonight then. Right. But it's a scratch, yeah. 'Tis but a scratch. 4 is right out. Oh, the Black Knight. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I had funny moments for sure. It was good. He was a wife, you know. He was a wife? Or had a wife? What are you going to do? Bleed on me? That's funny. Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. And being on, I probably have it on DVD somewhere. Somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna take a brief break and I'll come back and I'll try to read a little more before we head out. I like your face. Thank you, Angry Hobbit. I appreciate that. What's wrong? Oh my gosh, Maddie. I loved the animated sections too. Yeah, that was fun. I liked it too. It's a good face, thanks. Kitchen's clean, da-da-da-da. Yeah, sounds like you've done a lot, Milu. Time to get some rest. That's funny. Cleese? I've never met somebody named Cleese. But yeah, I will be right back. I will check on the animals since I shut them away since they were being pains in the butt. So I'll make sure they're all good and then I will come back and we will read a little more. Okay? And then maybe I'll sing a song. Maybe. If you guys want that. So, BRB. If you're done doing that cases, you can come out, okay? You guys need to stay chill, okay? I am so ready for summer to be over. Can we have a watch party night of the Holy Grail? Yeah, if I can find the DVD, we can do that. I would be fine with that. Oh, well, yeah, Cleese is the last name. It makes sense, but I haven't met a person with Cleese as a first name. It's a Muppet chair, yeah. It's a Muppet chair. It's got fur. It's a little shaggy. Okay, we will continue. There's still some that we can do. I don't know if we'll get through the whole chapter, but we'll see. I will be much happier when summer gets here. Yeah, because it's all cold where you are right now. Summer sucks. I agree. At least it does here. It's been way too hot. I don't like it. If it's still like 80 degrees in the middle of the night, I'm not happy. Okay, here we go. Folk got used to the raven in time. You best watch that bird near the young one, Janice warned me, feeling some responsibility, perhaps, since her own nephew had been party to its arrival. Can't trust a creature with a beak like that, and you know what they say about ravens. But in this event she was completely wrong. Where the baby was concerned, the bird was a model of good behavior. While Johnny slept, it perched nearby, keeping a close eye on him and holding its tongue. When he was awake and yelling for his supper, the raven had a tendency to join in, lending its powerful voice to Johnny's own, and thus assuring him of a rapid attention. When I walked by the lake to admire the new cygnets, or in the forest under the spreading beeches with my son cradled in my arms, the raven accompanied me, swooping like a dark shadow from one low branch to another, never far away from me and my child. I began to grow used to its constant presence. It was like a well-trained guard dog, alerting me to the approach of a wild pig, or a group of woodsmen with a harsh cry of warning. I called it Fiacha, a name that was the meaning little raven, as to how I might employ its services, that I could not quite grasp. Once or twice I tried to speak to the creature with my mind, but I wore myself out to no avail. Perhaps when the time came I would know what to do, if the time came. There were so many rumors and portents and half-stated theories around, one was hard put to it to extricate the truth, or hazard a guess as to what the future might hold. Those who had touched my pregnant belly for luck, and thought Johnny the offspring of some otherworld being, now eyed Fiacha sidelong and looked at me shyly and muttered about the prophecy. It was a sign, they said. My family made no effort to counter these fantasies. If people believed me the sometime consort of one of the Tuatha, that at least saved explanations. I have listened to many tales in my life, and told a few of my own. If this has taught me anything, it is that there are some occurrences that change the course of things, that make an alteration far beyond their own apparent magnitude. It is like the throwing of a tiny pebble into a pool, how it makes an ever-expanding circle of ripples, spreading right across the water's surface. The little thing was a lie, or rather a truth withheld. Connor's lie and Liam's. Even my parents had known of this secret brother. The family's lie to one of their own. And none had told because it was so terrible, so dangerous in some way I only half understood, that even Neve, whose life was shattered by the effect of it, had not been allowed to know the truth. I did not think after this that I could quite trust any of them again. All came from that lie. True love, hopes blighted, cruelty, abuse and flight, and for Kiaran himself a descent into a kind of darkness that seemed to threaten the very fabric of our existence. For me and my family, I brought the loss of openness, the breaking of trust. Farewells too late to be spoken, Partings that were forever. The lie had awoken the old evil, and now it seemed one thing after another began to deviate from its true path. Finbar had remained long after we sent Sorsha down the lake. Very early next morning he was gone, slipping away quietly into the forest with only myself to bid him farewell. "You know where I am," he said. "There may come a time when you need my help. Call on me." "Thank you." Fiaha shifted on my shoulder, his head slightly tilted, watching my uncle as he made his way down the path under the trees. "Uncle." "What is it, Lyrden?" "I need to tell you something. I need to tell you that I have discovered the truth about Kiaran, about who he is and why he went away. And I want to ask you something. If I wanted to know about the old evil, and what that means, would you tell me? Would anyone tell me? I've had so many warnings, and I hear voices that pull me one way and then another, and nobody will explain. If it's true that we are under some threat, how can we fight it if we don't understand it?" Finbar stared at me. "You should have been my daughter, I think, for I hear my own words come from your mouth. I would have told you this myself long ago, but Connor made us agree to silence. You'd best ask him direct. I think he will speak to you of these things now that our sister is gone. With our silence we sought to protect her from further pain, from seeing a darkness reborn that would light our sons' and daughters' lives as it did our own. When she thwarted the sorceress, Sorsha believed the evil gone forever, but we had not defeated it, simply given ourselves a few years' respite. Speak to Connor, tell him your misgivings, and ask him for the truth." "I will. Thank you, Uncle. You always speak plain, and I honor you for that. Farewell, Lyrden. Keep your light burning." And he was gone. Later that morning, they let the dogs out. My father left the same day, taking all of us by surprise. I had known he would keep his promise, for he was ever a man of his word, but nobody had expected so precipitate a departure, especially in view of the hazards of such a journey. Briton he may be, but he had lived among the folk of Erin for 18 years and more, and there was no guarantees if his own people would receive him well. Besides, he had first to get there, across the coastline swarming with Norsemen, and a wide sea full of raiders and pirates and tricks of wind and water. For the big man to depart on such a venture alone spoke of a change far beyond that wrought by grief and loss. But Sean thought it made sense, of a sort. "He'll more likely slip across unobserved and gather intelligence as he goes," said my brother. "There was a time long ago when this sort of thing was commonplace for him. Now he does it only because he gave his word, but he still has the skills." There was a note of pride in his voice. As for me, I did not doubt my father's ability for the task, and I knew Janice had been right. I had seen the emptiness in his eyes, and I understood that without this mission he might indeed lose himself in grief. Father took his leave of Sean, and me in the little herb garden. When the young oak he had planted for my mother in the autumn, when Neve was born, now flourished to shade new generations of tender seedlings. He was plainly dressed, and had by him a very small pack, sufficient only for the most basic supplies. "I'll go on foot," he told us. "I have a little business to attend to on the way. It needs to be done quietly. Best if I travel unseen for the most part. As for Harrowfield, we have had little news. I cannot tell what awaits me there." "Father." I had wished to keep my tone steady, to be strong for him, but our loss was too fresh and my voice quavered. "Yes, sweetheart." "You will come back, won't you?" "That's a foolish thing to say." Sorry. "You should not need to ask me such a question. Of course I will come back. There's work for me here, family and folk. So Liam tells me, and I go now because I was bid, because I promised." "Don't worry, Father. I'll look after everything." Sean's attempt at confidence was not unconvincing. "Thank you, son. Now I must bid the two of you farewell for the time being. I know that you will be strong and courageous. I know that you will be your mother's children." He gave me a hug, and I wept. He clasped Sean by the shoulder, and then he left us. Not long after, Podrick gathered up his entourage and headed westward to pay his respects to Seamus Redbeard. After that, who knew? There were always fresh horizons to be sought, new adventures to be experienced. You might, he said, spend your whole life thus and still leave plenty behind for your sons and your grandsons to cut their teeth on. "And your daughters," I added dryly. My uncle grinned, showing his dimples. "And your daughters," he agreed. "I hear you're a strong hand with a bow and quick with a throwing knife, and neat on your feet with a staff. Next time I visit, I might teach you the art of sailing. You never know when you might need that." I waited a little, choosing my time with care. The household was subdued, the loss of my mother keenly felt. The departure of my father also disturbing, for without his constant reassuring presence, folk seemed a little lost, as if the work of farm and forest and settlement could not be done with energy and spirit, unless his tall figure could be seen among them, helping to mend thatch or stack straw, or tend to the breeding cattle. Connor and his band of druids showed no sign of leaving. I thought Liam seemed unusually withdrawn, and that Sorcia's death had hit her serious elder brother rather harder than anyone would have expected. It seemed to me that Connor stayed for his brother's sake. But I suspected another motive as well. The Archdruid was often there when I worked in my garden, or played with Johnny on the grass. He would walk with me to the settlement and give the folk good advice and a blessing, while I tended to their injuries and ailments. I thought that it was not me he watched, but Johnny. I had always trusted this uncle, so wise, so balanced, so serenely sure. Now I could not look at him without seeing Kiaran's shadowed eyes and my sister's bruises. I thought about trust, and how dangerous it might prove to be if you were wrong. I thought how perilous it was to make a choice based on trust, based on what others told you was right. It was plain to me what Connor wanted for me and my son. It was the same thing the fair folk wanted. Indeed, it seemed no more than common sense. Perhaps the forest was the only place my son could be kept safe. But I could not be certain. The only choices I could be sure of were my own. We sat together in the garden, as Johnny lay on his blanket under the trees. There was nobody about. I was sewing, for Johnny grew fast and was constantly in need of small shirts and tunics. Connor sat by my side, looking down toward the lake. "Uncle," I said cautiously, "I am not sure how to ask you this. I have heard many allusions of an old evil, something you thought long gone that is somehow awake again. I've been thinking of this a great deal, especially since my mother's passing. I remember your story, the one about Fergus and Ethne. In that tale, the fair folks say things will go wrong for Seven Waters until the islands are regained and the balance restored. It seems to me things are going wrong now. What happened with Neve was terribly wrong. I must tell you that I have discovered the reason why you forbade their marriage. I know of Kiaran's identity. But I cannot understand why you did not tell them the truth. Twice you withheld it. First from Kiaran himself, letting him grow up ignorant of who he was. And then you let Neve believe he had deserted her, simply telling her their union was forbidden, without giving the reason. That was cruel indeed. I cannot understand why you would conceal the truth thus. This has not been the way of things for us here at Seven Waters." "Did Finbar tell you this?" Connor's voice was calm as ever, but his hands were restless, turning a hazel twig between his fingers. "I spoke to him of these things, yes. I could not tell him Kiaran had returned. He could not know Neve lived, though it seemed harsh to hold back this news. In choosing to be her protector, Kiaran had indeed set my sister apart from her family. But Finbar did not break any promises, Uncle. He told me you had bound them to silence on this matter. I have pieced the truth together from visions and from other things." "I see. I seek an explanation from you now if you will give one. For you warned me to keep my son here in the forest, as if he were indeed the child of the prophecy, the one who will put all to rights again. And it does appear the evil things are closing in on us. We have seen many losses here, not least the loss of trust. I understand what the fair folk told me, that Johnny may be the key, but he's so little. What are you doing? I glanced down at Johnny, who was grunting with effort as he tried to reach his toes with his fingers. If what they say is right, then my son may have a monumentous part to play in all of this. I'm his mother. How could I make decisions if I have not been told the whole truth? Connor looked at me. Have you told the whole truth? He asked gravely. I felt a blush come to my cheeks. No, uncle. But I do not seek to conceal an evil, only to protect those I love. And I did tell my mother the truth before the end. He nodded, apparently satisfied by this. I, too, sought only to protect those I care for, Leodin. But I made a terrible error. I thought I was strong enough to undo her evil work, to counter it with a strategy of my own. But I am only human, after all. A puny piece of this game. She is beyond that, a creature of greater power than anyone realized. Devious and imaginative. We thought her gone forever. We were wrong. Her? You mean the Lady Oonagh, don't you? The same sorceress who turned you into swans and would have taken 7 waters for herself if my mother had not undone the enchantment. Connor sighed. You say she would have taken it for herself, but it was not so simple. It was for her son she wanted it. It was through him that she sought to have power and influence. Her son bore her own tainted blood, the blood of a line of sorcerers, but he was also the son of Colum of 7 Waters, and had a rightful claim to the Tuath. With us safely out of the way, he was the heir. With him as her pawn, and by the use of her powers of sorcery, she could have swayed the destinies of kings, Leodin. I know you brought him up in the Nemetons, I said. Your father found him and took him from his mother, and you brought him up as a druid. I can understand that, but why didn't you tell him the truth? Why wait until it was so late that hearing it nearly destroyed him? My father made it his quest to find Ciaran and bring him home, said Connor quietly. Such a one as the Lady Oonagh cares little for a child of tender years. She intended, I imagine, to wait until he was old enough to be taught, and then to make a sorcerer of him. So she fostered the boy with folks she deemed harmless, a childless couple in the south, who were only too glad of a bag of silver in return for the care of a small lad. Their dwelling was remote, hidden in the deep folds of a wooded valley. The sorceress thought it safe to leave her son there a while. She reckoned without my father's determination. So Ciaran was found and carried home to the forest. The boy was brought up in the lore, in the peace and the discipline of the grove. Here, too, Lord Colum lived out the years of his old age in contemplation and study, and died a good death. Ciaran was like a son to me, Leodin. A fine young man, deep, wise, perceptive, and quick to learn, and strong in self-discipline. He possessed every quality one would wished for in a future leader of our kind. I was so sure, so certain I could undo her work and make of this child a man who would follow the path of light, steadfast of purpose, sure in faith, unswerving in his dedication to the mysteries. We told no one who he was, besides myself and my father. Only my sister and brothers knew of his existence. I made the choice not to reveal his origins to him. No lad should have his growing years blighted by a dark truth like that. Instead, he was simply one of us. In every way, he belonged to the wise ones. And yet he did not, I said. I could read Connor's distress in his eyes, although his voice was, as always, deep and sure. For surely the son of a sorceress can never become a druid. Connor was very pale. I had made a terrible mistake. The boy bears his mother's blood, and in time that made itself known. I had thought I could counter it. I brought him to Seven Waters. He longed for a glimpse of life outside the Nemetons, and he had proved himself indeed worthy to assist with the ceremony of Imbolc. So safe did I believe it. I never thought he might be tempted. I never thought. But I brought the evil down on us again. He had only to set his eyes on Neve, and the Lady Oonagh's hand began to shape our lives once more. Through her son she began once more to work a destructive will on the family, and those we guard and protect. There was no choice, Leiden. That night we spoke of it. Liam and I, your father. I made a decision. I made them agree to silence. We saw how Sorsha was stricken to the heart by this, how she feared for her children, that they in their turn might fight with the malign influence of the sorceress. We kept it from you. We thought it best if Neve did not know the full truth about the sin she had committed. Without the burden of guilt, we reasoned, she might better put this behind her and start anew. She made a good marriage. She was far away and safe from harm. As for Sean, nobody wished to see him rushing out sword in hand, seeking some sort of reparation from Ciaran. Sean was to be a leader, balanced and wise like his uncle and like his father. It was best if he did not know. And if he was not to know, we could hardly tell you. What about Ciaran? I asked grimly. For it seems to me he was worst treated of all. His whole life has been a lie. We told him the truth that night. Connor sounded like an old man, weary and sad. I could offer him no less. What he and Neve had done was an abomination against natural law. They acted in innocence. My voice was shaking. That I acknowledge, he said gravely. It was none the less forbidden and could in no way be sanctioned. It was best for Neve to marry and start anew. As for Ciaran, he chose his own path. In that I saw his mother's influence stretching out over us once more. I glanced up at Fiacha, who sat atop a hawthorn hedge preening his feathers. Finally, my uncle had given me the truth, but it was blindingly clear that I would not be able to return the favor. Not now, and perhaps not ever. Do you know where Ciaran went when he fled from Seven Waters? I asked cautiously. Do you believe that the Lady Oonagh still lives, and that he sought her? Some things seem too terrible to be spoken aloud. It is possible, yes. As to how he would hope to reach her, there are ways. Ciaran is adept. He might attempt such a journey without supervision, although that is unwise. I have heard nothing since he left here, Leiden. You sent him away, knowing he might try this. I did not send him away. He could have remained with us. He was an outstanding student, capable of great things, extremely skilled in all the arts of the mind and in the craft of magic. There was no need for him to leave us. Indeed, the threat posed by his ancestry could far better have been controlled within the confines of the sacred circle and of our community. He chose to go. He chose to put that behind him. I failed him, Leiden. I failed him, and in the end I failed my family as well. You once told me, I said, not to feel guilt, since things would unfold as they must. That was a long time ago, right at the very start of this. Now I hear you saying that this is somehow your fault. Perhaps you were wrong about that. Maybe the whole thing is part of some pattern. A pattern so big that we cannot see more of it than the tiny part where we belong. That was what the fair folk told me. That we couldn't understand, and so our choices were flawed. It seems sometimes as if we are no more than puppets that they manipulate to suit themselves. But I think we have a greater power than they are prepared to acknowledge. Or why would it matter to them so much that I might take one path or another? Why would they set such store on keeping Johnny safe? Perhaps it is indeed only through small folk such as ourselves that the prophecy may be fulfilled, despite what they tell us. And after all, said Connor quietly, it was through human strength and endurance that Lady Oonagh's enchantment was undone before, not by a powerful intervention of the Tuatha Dé. You are saying then that I may be wrong about Ciaran. From what you tell me, he is neither weak nor ignorant. Despite his anger, he is surely a young man who will weigh his choices carefully with some skill. I cannot believe that because he is her son, he must inevitably work evil in his life. To say that is to say we have no choice at all in what we do, and how we live. I don't believe that, Uncle. Perhaps we do have a short span in this world, as the fair folk tell us. Perhaps our scope is somewhat limited. But within those limits we do have the power to change things. The power to make choices and to go where we must. If I have learned anything about myself, it is that I will not be a tool for some lord or lady to dance to their tune, not if my heart calls me to another path. You brought Ciaran up to be balanced and wise. He bears that within him as well as the blood of the sorceress. What you imparted to him so lovingly through the long years of training has made him strong. Perhaps he is stronger than you think. I think only Milu didn't have a sub there. And I missed Frost's exit. Well, if you are still listening, good night, Frost. It was good to see you. We did not speak of these things again, and at length when summer had advanced into autumn, and Johnny could sit up by himself and move along by an odd, half-crawling, half-creeping motion, Connor departed with his silent, white-robed brethren after him. All that he said to me was, "Keep him safe, Theoden. For all our sakes, keep him safe." That's the end of chapter 12. And my throat is dying. So that is going to be the last of that. And thank you for snoozing the ad spare. But I think that, or no, Milu does have a sub. Yeah, I think everyone on Twitch that's at least chatting has a sub. You use a Prime sub, Milu? Yeah, that's the smart way to do it. Sorry, my brain into thankful mode? That's fine. I'm glad that everyone could be around to be of some support while you're going through some rough stuff. Ugh. That was probably a little too much reading for me today. Oh, you use your Apple account? If I don't have a sub, I'll die of shock. Mine expired, but I'll get the Prime one back next live. Okay. Totally fine, Kemian. We appreciate that a lot. And I'm glad you made it in, because sometimes you miss out. And thank you, Purple Haze Wolf, for the follow. Welcome in. Prime here doesn't work. Really? Okay. That's a bummer. But yeah, I could try to sing a song. I don't know how good that's gonna sound when my throat is kind of like but we can try if you guys want to sing a song with me. Savage Daughter? Alright. I mean, I can try it. I'll try it. Don't hurt your throat. I mean, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll live. It is what it is. Such is true. Well, no, the blessing is really for me because you guys decide to be here and share the stories with me, so. Just drink tea after. I will. I've finished off my coffee. It's gone now, so I'll make some tea. Gone to America? Yeah. I haven't listened to that one in a while, so I'll have to see if I can remember the tune, but I liked that one. But I can do Savage Daughter and then that one. You are most welcome, Esther. Thank you for coming in to hang out with me. I'm suggesting the least strenuous song. That's fine. Please don't overdo it. I will definitely try not to. It's not, I mean, I only really need my voice for this because most of the time I'm just like sitting at my magic box working. So it'll be fine. All right. Bring up the lyrics just in case I forget. It's funny because like when I'm by myself like cleaning and I'm just singing to myself, I'll remember, but then, you know, when I'm put on the spot, my brain's like You are very welcome, Milu. And yes, Bear, you're right, we are all blessed, I suppose. And growing at you mean when I gotta discipline him? I don't think you want to sing Misty Mountain. I can. I've actually never sung Misty Mountain for you, I don't think. Capitan has heard me though, but only on accident. Because I was in a call with her and her husband, and I was like, be right back, I gotta do a thing. And then while I was doing the thing, I was singing it. And I guess I didn't mute properly, so I was not muted. You get flustered easily on stream? That's funny. It's, you know, you just started out, so it takes a little while to get used to it. Hello, Smoking Barrel Tavern. Welcome in. We are ending up. I am going to attempt to do some songs. And I'm not used to reading like Castle is, so my throat's a little worn out already, but I'm going to try and we'll hope that it goes well. You've heard it? Yes, I have, Maddie. I put on music to do house and or yard work. The neighbors get a free, very bad concert. That's funny. I love it. I don't know, maybe it's good. Maybe you're just tricking us, Bear. Maybe it's actually a very good free concert. All right, so singing Savage Daughter first. And hopefully the cat decides to stop being a nut. He's over there getting into stuff. You get what you pay for, Bear. That's funny, Teresa. I just use the headphones. There you go. You have a very big voice. You seem like somebody that would have a very big voice. And I definitely don't mean that in a bad way. So it probably like projects really well. Okay. Here we go. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. My mother's child is a savage. She looks for her romance in the colors of stones, in the faces of cats, in the fall of feathers, in the dancing of fire, in the curve of old bones. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. My mother's child dances in darkness. She sings heathen songs by the light of the moon, and watches the stars and renames the planets, and dreams she can reach them with a song and a broom. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. You've run out of snooze? That's fine. That's fine. Oh my gosh. Cat? Can you leave the snake alone? Milo. Milo. Such a brat. We are all brought forth out of darkness into this world through blood and through pain, and deep in our bones the old songs are waking, so sing them with voices of thunder and rain. We are our mother's savage daughters, the ones who run barefoot, cursing sharp stones. We are our mother's savage daughters. We will not cut our hair. We will not lower our voice. Hello, Black Dragon. Welcome in. We are at the end, where I sing songs in a terrible voice because it's worn out from reading, but we do it anyway, because we do it for fun. Yeah, he's taken to jumping on top of Squeeze's tank now. So I always catch you on the end. That's okay. So I have reinforced mesh on Squeeze's tank because when we had Squeeze, there was another cat in the house. Squeeze is actually my brother's snake from years and years ago. This snake is old. He's like over 25 years old now. And at that time we had a cat, and I was like, the cat's probably going to jump on it, and I don't want that to break. So he's a ball python. Super easy. He's kind of more like a pet rock than anything else. Can we see the nope rope? Yeah, I can take him out. He hasn't gotten fed yet, so that would be safe. No, Milo is bothering Boo, so he's getting upset. I said terribly, though. But thank you, Bear. Yeah, I'll get the nope rope real quick. Hi, babies. Babies. I love you. I am not a fan of nope ropes, but I like Squeeze. Squeeze is a great pet. He's super quiet, and he doesn't have any sass whatsoever. He's very sweet. Guide Maiden, I wish to boop the nope ropes. Yeah, he's got a good nose to boop for sure. He's adorable. And he's probably going to try to get tangled in my hair. So obviously, he always wants to wrap around my neck because it's warm. Okay, yeah, there we go. So if I do take him out, I usually put my hair up because he just wraps around everything. You had 9, wow, that's a lot. But yeah, he's a pretty handsome boy. And he's very well-mannered. So he is a very gentle baby. I mean, he could probably choke you on accident because he can get stressed out. If he's around your neck, he's gonna squeeze. So Yeah, they are a good size. I'd say he's probably somewhere between 4 and 5 feet long. So he's good. Say hello. But I'm gonna put him back in there before I sing the next song because he is also very adventurous. He likes to adventure around before he finally settles in. There's Milo, knocking stuff over. He's as big as me, well, as long as you. You're looking for a hognose? They play fake dead, yeah. They're pretty cool. I kind of always wanted a green tree snake. I think they're very pretty. I have been told that they are very sassy and do not like being handled, so... But they're so pretty, right? Like, he doesn't really come out very often to appreciate him. He's always in his little rock. He'll come out to take a bath. He likes it when I put warm water in there. He'll come out and take a little bath. I want a lavender ball too. All of the snakes. Yeah, I like reptiles and amphibians, and he's a sweet boy. I'm apparently smaller than you, Oonagh. My doctor lied to me. Oh no, you're shorter than me? I'm pretty short, so... Well, I guess I'm probably average. A little below average. But yeah, that's pretty funny, Maddie. Hubby had a 6-foot iguana? What? That's crazy. A 6-foot iguana? Wow. He must have been huge. And yeah, iguanas can be mean, for sure. I'm hobbit-sized? Okay, that's fine. You can be a hobbit. Who doesn't like a hobbit, Maddie? Okay, let me put him back. Ugh. My love, can you stop? You're being a butt. He immediately went back into his rock. He's like, okay, fine. I'll be taking a ring to Mount Doom now. That's a dangerous trek. Do you have hairy toes? You know, that Conqueror's Challenge that does the medals for doing basically like a digital trek. Like you put in your workouts every day and then it goes like a distance on a path. They have a lot of different ones for different parts of the world, but then they also have these fantasy ones where you're doing the trek to Mordor, and they have Star Wars also. Like, it's kind of funny, but it's fun. I kind of do. It's funny. Okay. Gone to America. This one is actually a little bit harder to sing while sitting down, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Badly explained Lord of the Rings. Hobbit travels to a volcano to propose to Oonagh. Yeah, that's funny. Glad the tavern is open. Off to more lives to show love. Okay, go do that. Thank you for popping in to say hello. Okay, so this one, Gone to America by Steel Eye Span, was actually introduced to me by Bear. The eye said no and died, yeah. Took the ring though. Married him in April, lost him in July. Listen to my story and I'll tell you, except the ring, I'll tell you why. They said that he'd been poaching and stealing wine. They said I wouldn't see him for a long, long time. They said he's gone to America to work the land that some called Virginia. They said he's gone to America. Married him in April, lost him in July. They took him as a prisoner, then told me why. They said they had sent him where poachers go. I asked if I could see him, but they said no. They said he's gone to America to work the land that some called Virginia. They said he's gone to America. Married him in April, lost him in July. Curse the men who took him, curse their wicked lie. The night they saw him poaching and stealing wine was the night he took comfort in these arms of mine. They said he's gone to America to work the land that some called Virginia. They said he's gone to America. Married him in April, lost him in July. Harry Potter's Star Wars with sucky lightsabers? I mean, I guess pretty much. That's not inaccurate. Silly. Alright. What was I doing? Oh, Esther wanted Misty Mountain, right? Doo-doo. You guys are funny. It's a funny stand-up comedy sketch. Yeah, it is. It is pretty funny. All right, I'll just do the short version. Am I making Una's brain not function for 2 seconds? Yeah. No, it's probably not your fault, Maddie. It's probably my fault. I've only really had breakfast today because I'm naughty. Well, thank you, Bear. I like messed up a couple spots. I'm like, nope, that wasn't the right tune, but I need to listen to it more. I haven't been listening to that playlist. But I like it. It's got like a very 60s, 70s vibe, so I enjoyed the song a lot. Maddie Pryor would be proud of you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a good song. I enjoy it for sure. Because I really like Fleetwood Mac. I really love their Dreams album, so it kind of like reminds me of that. Ugh, okay, this one's definitely gonna be, that was bang on. Okay, I'm glad. I sang Gone to America for Bear, and I sang Savage Daughter for Maddie. So I was just about to do Misty Mountains for you. Just the short version, like the movie version. There's already a road of Maddie corpses. I know. It was funny in the game. Just like all your skeletons are all clustered together. All right. Right. Yes, I recall that. All right. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away of day to find our long forgotten gold. The pines were roaring on the height, the winds were moaning in the night. The fire was red, it flaming spread. The trees like torches blazed with light. Yeah, just the short version. Sounds convenient, yeah. It was funny because when we were playing with Maddie, like he kept dying, and then he'd go back to get his stuff, and then die again. He should have just been like, I need people to come with me so I don't die. I apparently didn't understand the don't starve part of the game. Yeah, like after you die, you have to eat so you can get to your stuff and not die again from starving. Those bees hated me. Hello, Melody, and I came to say goodnight. Okay, good night. Thanks for coming in, Motivated Momster. A very impressive rendition of Misty Mountain. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's a dirty trick. Yeah, it was fun playing Don't Starve, though. Should have more people join us. If Castle is willing to play again. At 77, Maddie Pryor still tours and performs. Sadly, I've never seen her live. That's pretty cool. Wow. Most people are like, I'm done with that by that age. I won't mention the spiders Castle had to help me with. Yeah. I mean, it's just... The game was meant to be challenging, so it's okay. We knew you were going to die. It happens. I think I died once, too. She wants me to tell you she's so excited for SeaWorld. I'm glad. I mean, it'll be fun. We got a ways to wait, but it'll be fun. I haven't been there in ages. And I've not been there during the holiday decorations, so that'll be fun. I'm more surprised the big boys didn't kill you. Yeah. They can be a little easier to run away from, but like honestly, I think those tall birds are the worst. I haven't been there since I was her age. Yeah. long time. I think I went, gosh, my brother was still a baby. So a long time ago. And he accidentally stole a magnet because he's a little baby and he just like grabbed one, and we didn't realize that he had it until like after we were well on our way home. So we weren't gonna turn around just to give that back, and we were like, oh my gosh. I literally ran into Goose Moose just running back to camp, trying not to die from the rain. I mean, everything in Don't Starve wants to kill you, so. She holds songwriting and poetry writing weekends in North Cumbria in England. Oh, that's cool. Okay, first day of school tomorrow, so we are off to bed. Yeah, same here. Everett starts tomorrow. He doesn't have all his curriculum stuff yet, though, so I guess he's just gonna have to sign in and do all the digital things. But good night. Thanks for popping in real quick. And I think we are pretty much done. We did reading, we did songs. Just testing? Oh, gross. We really need to do that again. Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun game. I haven't done all of the, like, the boat stuff. But you are very welcome, Kemian. Get a good rest, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow, probably. I don't know what for. Everett's back home, So I'm pretty sure he wants to do some more Final Fantasy, but we'll see. I promise not to accidentally traumatize Castle with sirens again. Yeah. I only have my phone. Oh, that's okay. That is totally fine. I'm letting her get through that before we dive into curriculum so we don't overload first week. Yeah, that's a good idea. The testing is annoying. Well, thank you, Bear, and thank you for hanging out. I will look forward to reading some more of this to you guys in a week's time. We're almost done, kind of. We're about 80% of the way done. Yeah, you know what? We should raid Falcor. Let's do that. Let me find the Twitch page. And I will raid her. She's good for kind of winding down and slipping off to sleep. Let's see, where is she? There she is. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and raid Falcor. So thank you guys for hanging out. Have a very good night and day. We'll see you again soon. I keep getting all the K-pop Demon Hunter songs stuck in my head. Yeah, she has a soft and gentle voice. She does ASMR and does some book reading, so it's good vibes. It'll be fun. All right, friends, I'll meet you over there. And for all of the TikTok peoples, good night. It's good to see you. Sleep well, and we'll be streaming again on Tuesday. I'm trying to remember what he reads. It's either Silverthorn or Harry Potter, and then the other one's on Thursday. I forget, because I'm terrible. But good night, you guys. Sleep well.